Hello, my friend.
Hey, how's it
How
going?
are you? I like the glasses.
Thanks. They're a new addition.
Yeah,
I
I like those. They're very Harry Potter-esque.
I was like it's been a few years since I got my eyes checked, so I was like, let me go ahead and do it, see if there's any adjustments need to be made.
Oh,
So
so is this your first time having glasses then?
second time. It's like I got them a few years ago and then I just kind of like just continued wearing the same ones. And they say that you're supposed to like have it checked, every so often in case your vision, changes. So
Yeah, I've not gone at
that's
all.
no, you need them.
I'm noticing as I get older that I'm probably should go
You,
because last time I got checked was when I was like in grade one, maybe.
yeah, you
So when
definitely
I was
should.
6. Actually,
If
no. You have to do a test for what am I saying? What am I talking about? You have to do a test for when you get your license,
okay, yeah, yeah.
but it's not like a
So it's been a while. I mean, like you haven't,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's you probably need if while you're gaming, like everything starts getting blurrier. Yeah, you probably
Oh
should.
yeah, definitely.
It's getting a
Definitely.
mess with your shooting for sure.
I haven't been gaming as much, but
Hmm.
because the old place I was living in, the internet was really, really bad. So I couldn't really, which is where we did the last podcast.
Okay, so you moved since then.
Yes. So now that I'm here, I'm gonna be able to stream more, but I'm prepping now, so it's like a little tough.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. I saw. Well, first I was you were drinking something like out of a hostile bottle on your story.
Yes.
What
Yes,
was it?
Hosta. What was I drinking on the hostel
Yeah, do you remember what it was? It was like some kind of clear you put it in your stories. I don't know when you put
yesterday?
it. It might have been yesterday. I saw it today, but it might have been yesterday.
Oh yeah, so that's just the EAAs. So
Oh, okay.
I
Gotcha.
mix the EAAs and I have them in my oh, I wish I had the jug here. I have a big, it's called the Big Mouth water
Mm-hmm.
jug. And I put it all in there and then I put 2 scoops and then I just drink it throughout the day because I'm pretty bad with my water intake, I'll be honest. But the EAAs really, really help me
Mm-hmm.
because it's like it's not as boring, you know? I think
Yeah, yeah. It gives you
yeah,
something like exciting to look forward to when you're sipping on it instead of just plain
exactly.
water. Yeah.
Yeah. And having for the cardio and for my training, it's best to do I find like it having EAs every day has really helped me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
So you're in prep now?
I am. Yeah, yeah.
When did it start officially?
Like technically, officially, like last week, but I've been slowly transitioning into prep the last, I want to say month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
getting certain things like intact because it's like really, really tapping into that prep mindset to get
Mm-hmm.
a proper stage ready is takes a lot and it's an
Yeah.
every minute of every day type of thing. So I've been off of competition prep technically for 2 years now. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I've had to drop out of my last two, unfortunately, kind of like the beginning of prep. So I wanted to make sure that going into this prep, I was mentally prepped and physically
Mm-hmm.
prepped.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's officially, started like no more, no more cheat meals kind of thing, like
Yeah.
up into the show. So cardio every day, stretching every day, posing every day, training every day.
Right. So you're full
That's
in,
officially
100%.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. Like people don't understand, and like with regard to like prep, you're talking about you still got to do like all the other things that people do. Like you got to go to work, you got to take care of like family, other responsibilities, whatever the case may be, and plus on top of that, you're focusing on prep. It's a struggle, and I get what you mean. Like your mind has to be ready for that before you can just start like doing the physical things.
Yeah, because when the physical starts to go, that's when your mental strength has to be there to kind of carry you forward because it's like
Hmm.
some days you're going to wake up and your body like for me I've dealt with injuries for oh my god it's been like 3 years now so it's every day is a struggle so I'm like okay if I want to continue to do this how am I going to do this with with physically
Yeah.
feeling like shit it's all here so I've had to really train myself and try to tap into like I was saying that mentality of every day, every minute of every
Mhm.
day thing. And it's
Consistency, yeah.
consistency. And my last couple preps, which I always, if you follow me on Instagram, I always
Mhm.
refer to my 2019 prep, which was, I was so zoned in, I was so locked in, and I gave it my all, and it was like the best outcome it could have been for me, in terms of just like improvement.
Yeah.
And I realized, that I had so much in myself. I just needed to do it. So
Yeah.
it's taken a while after getting injured to find ways to do that again, with
Mm.
having now a physical barrier,
What's
so
the, if you don't mind me asking, what's the, and I think you might have told me in the past, but now I'm going blank on it. What was the issue?
so in 2020 was when I had my really bad back injury. I think I told you
That's right.
I went like paralyzed for like, I couldn't walk for like 2 months. That's why I
Yeah, yeah,
started
yeah.
playing
Now I
Call of Duty
remember.
again and streaming. Yeah. And
Mhm.
then so in August, I was 6 weeks out of nationals, and I
Mhm.
tore my meniscus and
Ugh.
sartorius on my left side.
How did that happen? Just
So
something simple, or was there, were you doing something intense?
so I was pretty deep into prep, and it was at the point where we were pushing pretty hard because we were a little bit behind.
Mhm.
And I was just warming up for my leg day, and I felt it snap. And I was at the point, for me, I'm so like, when I'm prepping and when I'm training, when I'm in the gym, like I'm so
Mm.
tunnel vision,
Mhm.
like I just like very locked in. And I was like, it's leg day, I just whatever. Like
Yeah.
like I was in denial about it.
Uh-huh.
When it
Uh-huh.
happened, I was like, oh, just my left knee. It always like does something weird.
Yeah.
It's always horrible.
So you didn't feel like any kind of like ridiculous pain or anything like that? It was, you
So
just felt like a pop?
I did feel like a snap. And
Mhm.
then after that, uh I think it was the next day or 2 days after, I noticed the bruising. And then my boyfriend was like, I don't know, man, like it looks a little, the bruising, that's not like, for me, I don't
Yeah.
really bruise. So like I was like, it's not
It looks
normal.
weird. Yeah,
Looks
yeah.
weird.
Uh-huh.
And like when I would touch it, so I was actually at a tennis match with my mom. I brought my mom to the ATP. There was like the women's national, the
Uh-huh.
professional tennis. She loves
Mhm.
that. So I brought her there, and it was really hot. And I was wearing like a dress, but it was like a short dress. And I remember like my legs were starting to burn. I never burn.
Mhm.
So I like touched my leg, and I touched the bruise, and I was like, oh fuck, like it was really
Mm.
bad. I was like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
that feels wrong. So then, yeah, I spoke with my boyfriend about it, and then he was like, "You should go get
Uh-huh.
checked." I messaged Ken Kanakin, who's my chiropractor, and went in the next day, and right away he was like, "Yeah,
Some,
Adeline,
yeah.
it's torn." Then Ken is such a positive guy, and he's like, "So what are you gonna do about the show?" And then in my heart, I'm like gutted, like I'm crying, like I'm like
Mhm.
upset, because like finally I was, gonna
Yeah.
step back on I don't want to get emotional now, but I was finally about to step back on stage. So it was really, really hard for me. But I ended up getting in with, I know Dr. Adil Khan. I known him from the gym, and he got me in pretty quick because he knew that, I was 6 weeks. I was technically 3 and 6 weeks out. I had to
Mhm.
requalify. So
Mhm.
we got me in for the PRP, and that helped. But it was like, Armin, it was just like, I have to make a decision. Like,
Yeah.
do I continue to push this when I know it's probably not best? And I don't want to step on stage unless I'm going to be my best. And if I can't push the cardio, I can't train, I couldn't even fucking walk. Like
Right.
it was really, really hard. I was like, there's not a point. So I had to make the decision to drop out. It took me about a couple weeks, but
Yeah.
I thought about longevity in the sport, and I think about all the things that I want to do still. And I was like, I think it's just best to focus on recovery, take advantage of, you know,
Mhm.
the extra calories grow. I finally got down to a weight that I hadn't been for like 2 years. So in reality, I've technically been prepping for like since that happened. But I've had a little bit of break on
Right,
certain
right.
things. But
You let yourself have some more calories, then bring yourself back down again.
yeah, because I wanted to see if I could grow a little bit more. I felt like
Mhm.
I needed just a little bit more in certain areas, and I've been really focusing on that since I tore my knee, because I was still able to do, like, once it healed a little bit more. Like after a week, it healed 30%. after the PRP, and I did 2 healing peptides to help with that, and healed 30%. So I was like, okay. And then after about 10, 12 weeks, I started to be able to train okay. And like any hip hingement stuff I was able to do. So I was like, I'm just going to take advantage of this. And I'm quite happy with the improvements I've made within the last 6 months. So
yeah. No, that's a tough decision to make. And sometimes I wonder too, like if more people should make that decision, because I'll look at some amateur shows and even at the nationals and things like that. And you'll look at somebody and you'll be like, you're not there. Like this is not the package that you should bring like to the stage. And it's not one of those situations where you just don't have the genetics, or it's not like this is like you're not like
you didn't do what you needed to do.
Yeah, you didn't have enough time, or whatever the case may be, or something happened. Maybe it was an injury, maybe it was something like that, and you were like, well, I'm gonna step on stage anyway. I don't think it's a good idea, because one, like there's judges there, and then there's like fans and stuff there. That's how they're going to remember you. So it's like if you step in at like a subpar level to that, to that level, to the point where like you can't even train, like you're definitely not going to bring like a great physique, because you can't train, obviously, And so I don't know. To me, it's one of those things where it's like maybe it's best to, even as painful as it might be mentally and emotionally, maybe it's best just to go ahead and call it, and then focus on healing and focus on getting, bringing back a better package next time. And not only that, I mean, if you decide that you are going to train on it, if it's even possible, I mean, the only thing you're going to do is make it worse, so you're going to limit progress down the road just for,
exactly. Yeah, because I tried that. I tried to continue my prep for, it might have been even over a week, maybe a couple weeks, because I think I couldn't get PRP for at least 2 weeks after I tore it. So
fantastic.
All right, we're back.
Man, it's always something, I tell you.
Oh, that's all right.
It's like it's like it's wild, because it's like everything fell exactly the way it had to have fallen to like unplug everything. It was
that's
wild.
All right.
So anyway.
I'm glad you figured it out.
I know.
That wasn't that bad. That was like a minute.
Yeah, no, I was like rushing to try to get us in, but well, I'm glad you're in prep and everything. Hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully we won't have any kind of injuries or anything like that. And
I know, man. It's I pray every day. I wake up, I'm like, please, nothing go today.
It'd be exciting to, be back on stage and try to like move forward in that, in your progression there. So
yeah, I've got a really good feeling.
Yeah.
I've got a really good feeling this year.
Do you have a show in mind?
Yeah, so I'll be doing the Toronto Pro Show, and so it's June 3rd. But I have to requalify. I've technically picked my regional that I need to do, because I haven't competed since 2020.
Right.
But I still don't really know yet. I think I'll decide that within the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's like location for some of them is like meh, like a little bit further than I would like, and then excuse me, other ones that are closer are like a little far away from the pro show. So it's like, I haven't quite decided, but my main stop is the Toronto, which is
Does Canada have like a lot of shows, or not so
like
much?
National shows?
Yeah.
We have 3 now, I think.
Okay.
4 technically, because
it's a good amount.
Toronto, then Vancouver, then Canadian Nationals, and then Ben Weider Natural Nationals. So I don't think I'm missing one.
There's a lot of like pros coming out of Canada, especially lately, that are doing really well. So
yeah.
I think what it's spicing up, like the divisions and stuff, because it's always
for
interesting, to see like somebody out of one area come out, like the Middle East now is getting a lot of of high up,
I know.
So it's like it's wild.
It's crazy. I know. I'm I'm quite happy to be and proud to be Canadian for sure.
Hmm.
And yeah,
I'm
yeah,
waiting for
I'm excited.
I'm waiting for like the Asian flow to come, through like the Asian trend, because
I'm
there's
half.
I know, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's gotta be like, because I see some of the pictures of these guys and girls, and it's like from those areas, and they look amazing. So it's like there's gotta be like at some point they're gonna like break through in a massive way. It always happens like that. So
Armin, it's funny that you say that because in 2019, when I was supposed to compete at the Toronto, it
uh
didn't end up happening, but I got there and we were at the athletes meeting and it was massive, like huge. And Toronto is
uh
technically an international show, so anybody can come in. And I was with my friends at the time and I was like, guys, I was like, the Koreans are here.
oh
Like, I was like, we're screwed. The
yeah.
Koreans are here. And you know what happened? A
What?
guy in the classic, I think it was class B. He won the classic, won his
Uh-huh.
pro card, went into the pro show the next day and qualified for the Olympia.
Yeah,
We're like,
how do
where did
you
this guy come
yeah,
from?
how do you battle against that? Like, right?
Yeah,
That's insane.
it
It's wild.
was crazy. So
Yeah.
it's funny that you bring that up because I remember like around that, yeah, like 2018, 2019 was when I started noticing a lot of these like, Korean, Japanese
Yeah,
athletes
yeah.
that are just looking insane. Like their muscle bellies are crazy. That's when I first saw what's his name? Chen.
Hmm.
He's in classic, the guy with the crazy quads.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, sorry, I was like, apparently I found another thing that fell that I'm just
No,
like
that's
now
okay.
fixing. I was like, I didn't even know that this fell. But
That's all
yeah,
right.
so apparently like these guys are just so good because when I was going through Instagram and stuff like that, and I'll always have like fitness people pop up because that's what I'm generally interested in, and a few other
Mhm.
things. And I'll see some of these Korean guys and I'm like, and some of the girls too. And I'm like, this has got to be photoshopped. I'm like, but then I see them on stage and I'm like, they look almost just like that. Maybe there's a little lighting, but
Yeah,
it's
some of them
like
do
some,
Photoshop their stuff, but like I know what
yeah,
you mean.
but some of them like look just like they show, or close to it, so it's like, that's gonna be tough once they come through, once they
For
get the eye
sure.
of the judges in the US and all that, it's gonna be tough to beat them,
Well, I think like a
so.
lot of them even now are in the pro leagues are doing quite well. Like
Mm,
some of them obviously are lacking a little bit, but like if you
mhm.
watched the classic for the Olympia, I mean there were 60 of them, so
Yeah, yeah,
you're bound
yeah.
to see at least a couple really good Asian bodybuilders in there, but some
Right.
of them were like I don't know, some with a lot of these like the males especially like the quads and the calves on them are wild,
Yeah,
and they've
yeah,
got a really thick like arm. I mean, I think
right.
they're lacking some of them lack a little bit in the I don't know, it really depends, like some of them got like really full chest, really full shoulders,
Right.
and like
They're just not like
yeah,
quite complete. Yeah, but it's
exactly.
but I mean that also comes with time too. A lot of those guys are young from what I saw, although sometimes with Asians you can't tell, It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if they're,
yeah,
I
but
was like,
like
I think they're young.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
they look young, so yeah.
Yeah, thankfully, I got half of that. So
Yeah, you'll look young until like you're 70 or something. You'll look like
I
you're
hope
20.
so. If I can make it to 70, oh man. I feel like we're not gonna make it in the next 5 years.
Yeah, you'll be good. You'll have a
Thank
nice
you.
long life and a long bodybuilding career for sure.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we
Feel
just
it's been a long run already, but I'm like, it's technically just getting started. So
sure. Well, it probably feels that way just because because you get going and then you get like something that kind of blocks you from getting on that stage and then you get
definitely.
going, and so it feels like you've been like prepping and bodybuilding for so long, but like you haven't like got on stage as much, and that's unfortunately that just happens sometimes.
Yeah, like the
So
last two, like it feels like such a long run, but like before that, when I first started, I was doing like 2 shows a year.
yeah,
So it was like it was fun. It was
yeah,
really
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we originally wanted to get into it, the Arnold. What?
Arnold,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know you said you didn't. Did you watch it or did you just check pictures and stuff from it?
So I was able to watch the finals,
Mm-hmm.
like the live stream of the finals.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch the prejudge. I just saw the videos from that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
thankfully there's a lot on YouTube right now. So I was able to catch up
Yeah.
within the last couple days of the Arnold happening. So that's usually what I do is I just catch up on everything and take in as much information as I can. And yeah, as
Yeah.
much as like I'm in the sport, I'm a fan of the sport.
For
So
sure, for sure. And
yeah.
that sometimes is hard to find, but because I'll have people on the show and it's like they'll know a little bit about their own division and the people in their own divisions, but they won't necessarily know much about the sport as a whole. They're not, I wouldn't say they're like fans of the sport as a whole. They're more fans of their own division, and
Yeah,
that's, I mean, understandable, but it's nice to be able to talk to people
common.
about like, yeah, I understand it. It would be good to talk to people about like all the way through, all the divisions all the way through.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not an expert on a lot of them, or anything like that, but I can put in my 2 cents at least into it, so, and I appreciate each, division for what it is, so for
You and
sure.
I both.
Yeah, I got to go, as I got to go to the Arnold after
Yeah,
six.
I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, it was great. I haven't been there in like 6 years, and so I wanted to go with my wife, and we were like planning on doing it, but she's a new nurse and she couldn't get off work, and I was like, "Do you care if I go?
Oh,
Do you care if I go by myself?" And she's like, "That's fine, you can go." And so I was like, "All right, I'm going." So I had a blast. Like the expo went well. I got to meet Arnold. I mean, it was great, and they ran everything smoothly. Security was fantastic. They had plenty of security for all those people. Nothing crazy happened as far as I know. And then it's like the shows were run smoothly. They started on time, they ended on time.
I heard that.
Yeah, everything was, I mean, was fantastic. The lighting was great, even though a lot of people were vying for that black backdrop, and
Yeah.
I think it would have been good. But I think what they did was also good. Like it didn't take away from the, anybody's look. I don't think
Oh,
so, at
I thought
least.
it looked great. I thought it looked
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I
So,
thought it reminded me of the backdrop. I think it was in 2018 or
mhm,
2019, where it was like that blue kind of like it was just like a
yeah,
blue backlight. I really liked that. I didn't
yeah.
so much like the red in there to this year,
Mhm.
but I thought they if they wanted to do something a little bit different that was good. So
Yeah,
I
yeah. It
I
wasn't
was
it wasn't bad at all. I mean, I would love to see the black backdrop and just compare it one year like to the other ones, because when they showed the black one in the past in like the 90s and so forth, it looks so good. The guys look so good and the girls too. But this one was incredible too. So they did a fantastic job for
I
sure.
agree. I would love to see the black backdrop. I think that what they could do is they could do majority of the backdrop black and then have like the sponsors kind of as the border,
I
like
think that's a
along
good
the
idea.
top.
Yeah.
That way we're still seeing because we all know that like money it's the money thing, right?
Yeah, they're
So
generating cash. Yeah, with
yeah,
that.
so
So
to have the sponsors like remember they used to do like banners? They could do
yeah,
I mean, if it's a higher end show, just do like a cool, I don't know, like
right,
backdrop of all of the sponsors and then have just where the athletes are standing. So whether that's, 8 to 10 feet high,
right.
have that for just the athletes. And it's really good for the photos too. Like,
Yeah, photos look good, and the other thing is like everything is done on the LED screen. Nobody is like
yeah,
draping like a real cloth backdrop there, so you can do whatever you want.
for those like for the IFBB shows, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like
The
you can do
local
whatever you
shows,
want. Oh yeah,
yeah,
local
exactly.
ones. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
You get what you
local
get.
ones. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's what it
uh,
is. But
but my
yeah,
point is that like because it's LED, you can put, and it's like basically a big TV. You can put whatever you want on it. You
exactly.
can run banners 1 second, then put black backdrop for the
Yeah,
show part, and
intermission,
then yeah. So, anyways, that's just my two
could
cents. But
have like a boxing style one where like you have like I don't know, ring girls
yeah,
bring the
you do whatever you want. You can just mix it up, right?
Can
You
you
can mix it
imagine?
up.
I
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I agree. I would like to see it. Is it gonna happen? I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for me to see it happening. Like you said, I think the sponsors would probably kibosh it.
I think
But
depends on the promoter,
yeah,
what the promoter wants for it,
yeah,
and so
yeah. Because I mean, generally speaking, like pro shows are not like huge money makers unless they're big show. Like the Arnold is obviously, like the
right.
Olympia is, like New York Pro probably is, like some other ones might be, but it's
Pittsburgh
like
probably.
right,
Pittsburgh
but
Pro for sure.
right, but like, but just generally, just shows around the country, they're not going to be able to generate that kind of money. They
Yeah.
need the sponsors. So let me see here. So I've been trying to like scour the internet and stuff for. So what did you think of? So first of all, the bikini, I'm sorry, the wheelchair division was there, which I don't know much about it, or the people that are in it, but I will tell you this. I was sitting there and I saw the guy, that won, and they brought him out and everything, and they kind of talked about him and whatnot. And I'm looking at his physique, and I turned to the girl that was sitting next to me,
Mhm.
and I was like, how is it possible that you don't have the use of your legs at all, but you can build a physique like that? Like the guy looked so good. I'm
Oh,
like,
they look
yeah,
crazy.
his upper body was like better than a lot of the like the guys that can use their legs. It's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. I mean, like, so the Toronto actually had the wheelchair division here.
Okay.
And or was it, yeah, it was Toronto last year, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to meet Nick. I believe his name's Nick. He's the one who presented the Arnold
Okay.
award to the guy who won.
Okay,
Uh
that was him. Okay, yeah, I saw. I didn't
yes.
know who he was, but
I
no,
believe his
I
name
get
is
what you
Nick.
mean. Mm-hmm.
Met him and I got to kind of like, figure learn more about the division, and
Right.
it really is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like,
And you got to think like the way they work out, like probably the workouts are similar, but you have to like, it's like you're in a wheelchair. Well, how do you do like, curls like with, in a wheelchair, or like, how do you like, there's got to be some adjustments, right? Like, I mean, it's probably like has similar principles, but it, it's a whole, like
oh,
you
definitely
got to
would have to be.
right. You have to rethink the way you work out. It's,
Like,
you
I'm
know,
just thinking here, like if I'm sitting here and I have to
right.
do like a bicep curl, I think it'd be best to hang the shoulder off, and
Sure,
then you could
sure.
do a curl and rotate it up this way, because then it's like you're working against gravity. You're not having to like, whether it's like if there's a cable in front of me, I'm having to
Hmm.
put all my weight kind of forward, really brace the core, and then pull forward. Whereas I think it'd be easier to, which I'm sure they do, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. There's probably, and again, I'm speaking strictly from just guessing, but I would imagine there's a huge market for equipment, like workout equipment specific to that, to that division. I would think, right? Like there's got to be like certain, like, I don't know, contraptions or like different, there's
oh
so much
yeah,
workout equipment for like people that are completely mobile. You got to think there's probably even more for that division. So
probably. I've actually not. I mean, now that you bring it up, I'm actually quite intrigued, and I would like to look it up and see. Like, I'm sure some of them have like a YouTube channel
yeah,
where they,
I know I'm kind of intrigued now that I'm like, it's funny because I wasn't thinking about it before, but now that I'm talking to you about it, I'm intrigued
yeah,
too. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna find out.
I'm gonna see how they do, because like, yeah, some of them look great.
Yeah. So I guess then talking about the next one would be the bikini division. Did you like, what did you think of about that? So just to give you like a rundown, Laura Lee, beat Maureen, who was the
Yep,
Olympia champ. Laura Lee was defending, I believe, that Arnold. So she won that Arnold last year. And
yep,
then Jennifer got third. Ashley, who seems to always plays top five no matter what show she does, for like she's been doing that for, feels like for 10 years.
yeah. I don't know how she does it, man.
Yeah, placed fourth. And then Romina, I don't know much about her, placed fifth. and then Ivana Iskandar
Iskandar, yeah.
placed 6th. So what did you think about that? Any views?
Yeah, I thought it was super exciting because it was like we had Jen, who was coming off of the O, who was the previous winner, so 2021. And then we had Laura Lee, obviously, who's the last year she's won. I think she created like a record where she won.
Can you see the
I think it was New York. It was New York, Pittsburgh, and then the Arnold, something like that, something crazy like that. She was winning those, so it was really, obviously, a little bit tough to see her come 5th at the O. So it was kind of like her redemption. So I was really excited to see her at the Arnold. And Maureen, I'm such a big fan of Maureen. I've actually, I found Maureen on Instagram like so long ago, and at the time she wasn't competing. Like, she already had her pro card, but she hadn't competed in a long time. And then Romina. So if you don't know too much about Romina, Romina's been in the game for a long time, long time. I want to say like 2014, she won. 2013 or 2014, she won her pro card at the Arnold, and then she did really well at the O, moving up. She was always top 5. So she took a little bit of time off, and then she's back, and I think she looks great. Little fixes here and there, and I think she'll do really well. And then Ashley always does well. 2-time bikini Olympia champ. She's always peeled to the bone. And then what else am I missing? Evie, I think she's really good too.
Yeah. What was the Marina you said? Was that her name? Romina. That's why I misspelled
Romina.
It. I was like, no wonder why it's not.
Romina Basaldo, I believe her name is. Romina Basaldo. There we go.
Oh, you know what's crazy? What's crazy is I did not even recognize her. I actually, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I had I don't know. Let me not speak out of turn. I believe I either had an episode with her or I talked to her about being on the show long time ago.
From head to toe, she's like, her proportions are really, really great. So it was good to see her come back and to see her be rewarded, because I know she's been trying to kind of crack that top 5, top 6 again. So it was nice to see her do well.
Yeah, well, this is the Arnold is one of those things where it's
invite only.
It's invite only, and then it's also like the how can I put this, like the momentum for the Olympia. So you win the Arnold or you do well in the Arnold, it kind of propels you forward in the Olympia. That's why it was such a big deal for all the winners here. And Laura Lee winning again, it's kind of like, okay, well, Maureen is is the Olympia champ, but now Laura Lee wins the Arnold and beats her again. It's like, okay, well, what does this mean? What does this mean for the upcoming Olympia? So it's there's a lot of like discussion, now that's going to happen because of that. And Laura Lee also, with the placing that she had in the Olympia, this last Olympia, it was just one of those things where I think she was really, really like, from what I saw and heard, like she was pretty upset with the whole with the outcome. Like which I understand, she did not feel like she deserved to be, that low. And I mean, again, not an expert on bikini, but I see like her point, so she was doing so well that year too. Like, she was placing well, throughout the whole year, and then all of a sudden come to the Olympia and then just
well, that's why I was saying, like, she kind of like beat like a record of consecutive show. I don't remember what the record was exactly,
right.
Coming from a competitor standpoint and knowing what it's like to kind of put your all into everything, and for it to not go your way is probably the most heart-wrenching thing I wouldn't wish upon anyone. So my heart really goes out to these competitors too, who, they are so amazing. They're amazing. but it's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's just not your day. And
Yeah.
like I've been there, and like, you know, my heart went out to her because I could tell, I could see that uh she wasn't happy with it. And even if you look at her Olympia routine versus her Arnold routine,
Mm-hmm.
it is night and day. Not strictly from a physique standpoint, but just the way
Right.
she carries herself. You can tell she really flipped that switch in her head. I
Mm.
guess because, you know, at the O, that kind of really
Yeah.
that really affects you, you know, every prep,
Right.
every show, it changes you.
Yeah.
So I was really, really happy for her to come out with the win. Maureen, I love Maureen. Maureen is
Mm-hmm.
very like, I can't really pick a favorite, but if I had to pick a favorite, I love Maureen. I've always been
Right.
such a big fan of her. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really exciting for the Olympia. And then also Jen. It's like
Mm-hmm.
Jen is right there too, but it's like any of them can take it. I
Right.
think it's gonna be a competition for first for all of them, because
Yeah.
it's like they all won within the last year.
Right.
So who's just going to bring it that day? And unfortunately with bodybuilding, it's like, I think we talked about this on the last podcast. It's like your body can change within like 2 minutes. Like for
Sure.
me, it happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I look best always like before I step on stage. There's been one time where I've, you know, really nailed it, and out of like the 9 times I've stepped on stage, and like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like it's almost like a two part process. There's getting, putting on the muscle, getting in shape, and then
yeah.
there's peak week, and it's like you
And then
if
it's
you
like everything that brings it, like for bikini, for like specifically, it's what brings that all together, right? It's going to be your
Mhm,
hair, your makeup, your presentation, your
right.
posing, your tan, your glaze, everything goes into the final look.
Right.
And
Yeah, well,
yeah,
it's interesting that you say that because for like example, like, you know, along with you, there's two girls on here that I prefer, and it might be just like my own personal preference because
yeah,
like I said, or like you said actually, all of them are very sharp. All of them can, win at any time. But
yeah.
I like Ivana, and that came in sixth. I think she
Oh
has a
yeah.
great look. And then I also like you, Maureen, and I've been, kind of kind of rooting for her to do well in the Olympias way before she even, sniffed at the Olympia title. So now that
Yeah.
she won it, I was like, oh, I always, it's like in my mind, I'm like, I always knew she was gonna get
Yeah,
it
me
when
too.
it was like
Me too, yeah.
I feel like I'm like such a, like a connoisseur of like bodybuilding now that I've like picked a girl that I thought was gonna win and she did
And
win,
then she did
so
it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but yeah, but like for example, like I know what you mean because for me, I actually liked Maureen's overall package here better with regard to the suit, the makeup, like the hair, like you said.
Yes.
But and that again, this is might be just personal preference. But she did like not, she came in second here in the Arnold first. So I think it's like you said, comes down to like just not just the physique, but also the presentation and everything that comes with it. And if you can wow like the judges, with that.
Yeah, so I think I completely agree. I loved Maureen's look here.
Hmm.
Actually probably better than the O.
Hmm.
But I don't know what the scorecard said. Like I don't know the difference between first and
Let me
second, but
let me see.
I
I
think it
wonder
was
if.
quite close. But for me, I agree. I think that Maureen uh
Hmm.
she came in almost the exact same as the O. Um Somebody was saying that she shouldn't, excuse me, that she shouldn't have changed her suit,
Really,
and
I
that
like their suit.
and
Okay.
that because she like the pink suit, and that
Hmm.
because she wanted the pink suit, she should have kept it for the O. But don't
Hmm.
necessarily agree with that. I think that the blue looks better for the skin tone.
Hmm.
And I thought she looked so much better. But then Laura Lee just like was 20 times better than the O. So it's
Hmm.
like, how do you
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so hard.
So her level of improvement was higher, even though like,
Oh, 2 point difference.
yeah, so close. I mean, 2 points.
2 points.
That's close. I mean, to me, that's close. I don't know. I mean, of course, 1 point would be closer, but 2 points
Yeah.
is still pretty.
So I think that means that 4 had Laura Lee first, 1 had her
Mhm.
second, and
Yeah.
then Maureen, 4 of them had okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
They're
it's
tough.
it's so tough. It's so
Yeah.
tough because they're so different too. Like if you really look at them, like they're okay, they're the same, but
Mhm.
they're also very different. Like Maureen's a lot shorter. Uh,
That's the
she's
biggest
got
difference, right? That you can see immediately with it, like with an untrained eye, you can see the
yeah,
height difference immediately.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I was very happy that because here's the thing, like Laura Lee and Jen are both Canadian and they both competed in the same
Mhm.
association. I have so obviously like I'm always rooting for them.
Right.
But for Maureen's standpoint, I'm very happy that she won because I'm short too. I'm very short and she's also like the
How
first
tall are you?
I think she's the first Asian.
Y-
I'm 5'2" and three
okay.
quarters.
You look a lot taller in like your pictures and stuff like that, but I guess
People think I'm like 5'7"
yeah,
because of
that's
my
what you look
legs.
like. Uh-huh.
My legs are really long, which sucks because it's taking me long to build
To
them.
build them. Yeah.
And to like have to create that illusion on stage has been a little bit tough because my torso is really short.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I'm short like Maureen,
Yeah.
and she actually won, I think it was the Boston Pro Show. I think
Mhm.
it was the Boston. And she's like, this one's for my shorties, to show my shorties that you can do it. And I'm like,
That's
oh, thank you.
hilarious.
Because somebody has told me that before. They're like, Milan, you're at a disadvantage because you're short.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah,
well, I haven't noticed. Like for me,
yeah,
like I hadn't really noticed in my career that that was a disadvantage for me. But
yeah.
I think uh going into this year now I'm like mindful of it. So
Right.
I'm
Well,
like,
I
oh
think it's also like what's an advantage and what's a disadvantage depends on like the year and like what they're looking for. So like we'll get to the men, but it's like there was a time where they would say, "Oh, well, like the shorter you are, the better it is because you can fill out, you can look thicker, you can do all that stuff." And now it seems like the taller guys are coming in like much better placings, with the
yeah.
shape guys. So it's like I said, we'll talk about them in a minute, but yeah, it's like with bikini and too, it's like I think it depends. Like that's why bikini is so tough is because you only get like I think Ashley Caldwell won the most Olympias, which is like 3, if I'm not mistaken. And then
3, yeah.
yeah, and so like that's not a
I said
lot.
to
I
you
mean,
before. Oops.
right when you compare it to other divisions who have like 5, 6, 8-time Mr. Olympias, like or it's just you can tell that there's a lot of good competitors and then there's also like room for the judges to decide what they prefer, like it's not always the same thing every year in and out.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing with bikini for
Yeah.
sure.
Hmm.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. All right, so the men's physique, I don't, to be honest, this is one of those. So as little as I know about bikini, I know like even less about men's physique. But Aaron Banks
You
wins,
and
and
I both.
yeah, so Aaron Banks wins. So he looked phenomenal. I saw him, and apparently he's defended this title. So now he won Olympia
Yeah,
last year
I
with it.
think he's
Yeah.
like pretty sure he's undefeated right now or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And so the thing about these guys, these men physique guys, is they're like getting bigger and bigger. I feel like
They're huge.
when they first started off, it was like they were just like this kind of like surfer,
They're so cute.
yeah, like surfer guy from
Yeah, like
California, something like that. Like
shredded abs. They got the like little bit of
right,
shoulders on the lats, rear
right.
delts. Yeah,
Yeah, somebody who like a 13-year-old girl would find like really
yeah.
cute, and it's like, but
Yeah.
now these guys are full on like bodybuilders, like huge shoulders, pecs, back. I'm like,
Lower lats. It's
right. Right. So I'm like, the only difference
Directors.
between them and some of the other divisions is the type of shorts that they wear, really. I mean, to me.
Yeah, the fact that they're not judged on the lower
Right,
half. Yeah.
right. So,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean, so I didn't really like I haven't really followed it the
yeah.
last, I don't know, 3-4 years maybe.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I When I first started bodybuilding, that was when I was I knew I was learning more about the categories. And
Mm-hmm.
at the time I was a big fan of GAT.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I think it was Janet was with them and Sadiq Hadzovic.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I like knew more about men's physique. But and that was when Buendia's time and
Right, right,
Ryan
right.
Terry, and then
Yeah. Well, it's Sadiq had a really great, physique too. And like I feel like I recently saw him and he still looks phenomenal too. Like so um yeah, yeah, I remember
yeah, I
those
think he'll
days.
always look good. I think he'll always I think he's older now, right?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I think it's a good idea for him just to stop competing at this point and just, one I don't think he's going to win any shows just because the direction of the sport, is going different or direction of his division. And then two, it's like there's no reason to push as you get older. It's like,
I was just about to say you got to
yeah,
be really like
right.
you got to be in a good groove for many years, pushing
Mhm.
pretty hard, especially as a male,
Right, right. And
to
and
be relevant right now.
right. And then, you don't want like, we're seeing, and I don't want to like make the mood, somber or anything, but we're seeing guys drop like at 30 something years old from pushing peds
Oh
too
yeah.
hard and stuff like that. And, just being big and eating a lot of food and stuff. So like your body can only handle that like so much, you have to know when to go ahead and step away.
Yeah.
I think that's like any sport, you have to know when to step away.
Yeah.
Some people just stick
I don't
around too long.
I'm not sure what he looks like at the moment, but I'm sure he could probably jump into physique. But even like you were saying, like they're so big now.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
know he wasn't always that big. Like he just
Hmm.
was very polished,
Yeah, he was. I
very
remember.
polished,
Hmm.
good routine, knew how to present himself properly, but he
Right.
wasn't ever that mass monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that Aaron is, but Aaron I think is really tall guy,
Yeah.
and he's just
Well, just
yeah.
what impressed me is just this upper part of him, like the pecs, the shoulders, huge. I mean, yeah, I don't think it's just a different.
Bubbly.
Is that yeah, bubbly muscle bellies? It's a different era. It's just a
Yeah.
different era. It's not. It's nothing to do with like any one particular athlete. It's just when the era changes like that. I mean, you either have to keep up with it, which again, depends on your age and all that, or you have to just kind of call it, for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing about bikini too, is that bikini you do appear to have, and I might be wrong, but maybe I'm just judging by Ashley Caldwell, but you appear like you can have a longer lifespan in the sport in bikini,
Oh,
if
for
you
sure.
wanted to, so
For sure. I mean, yeah, out of all of them,
right.
it's the closest one. Yeah.
Yeah. We skipped so the web.
Wellness.
Well, I'm gonna get to wellness, but we,
Okay.
we skipped because one of the website that I was looking at didn't have all the divisions. I just realized that, but we skipped fitness.
Fitness,
Yeah,
yes.
which Ariel Kadar defends, Jacqueline Baker second, Michelle Mensa, the Fredua Mensa, I guess is the way we would describe
I'd have
say
to
it.
see it to see.
Yeah, let me see. Let me go ahead and share instead of me just talking about it.
No, no, that's okay.
Let me see here. All right. There we go. And so one of the girls that I had on the show prior to the Arnold, Allison
Mhm.
Kramer, she did really well, got a fourth place. I
Oh, nice.
was super excited to see that happen for her. Her and her husband were there, and like I know he was really excited for her as well. Tamara Vaughn, Tiffany Chandler. Um, yeah, I mean Ariel looked good, routine looked good. I mean, there's not much more I can say. I think she, was well deserved. With fitness,
Yeah.
it's a little different because it's like every division is judged by their physique primarily, right? Like there's nothing else. With fitness, it's like it's almost like the opposite. Like a like 2/3 of their score is from the routine,
The
right?
routine, yeah.
So physique wise, I think they all look great, but I
Did
think
you get
they're,
to watch that in person? That
yeah,
one?
yeah. I
Isn't
watched
it
all of them in per.
unbelievable?
Oh, it's insane. It's insane, and it's like,
Me watching it with my torn leg, I'm like,
can you imagine like getting to that lean a shape? Excuse me.
absolutely not. I tear
And
every muscle in my body.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm like the first time I make a jump, like all my tendons just tear, like, and I just fall into like a pile of like skin,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like,
That would be me, man. Oh my God. That's,
yeah.
that's one thing though that I've, since tearing my knee, I've
Hmm.
like really wanted to see if I can get back into being a little bit more agile, a little
Yeah.
bit more athletic. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that division, when I watch it, I'm just like, man.
Yeah, so what's funny, you say that, I'm also like doing something similar. I'm like, I got back into running. I'm like trying to
Oh,
stretch.
nice.
I'm
I
trying
love running.
I'm trying to stretch every day. I'm like, I got to do
Stretching
better.
is important.
I just got to do better. It's like lifting weights right now just by themselves isn't cutting it, And it's like, and I look at myself and I'm like, do you, not that I'm some kind of mass monster or anything, but it's like, where are you lacking? It's like, do you need more muscle? It's like, not really. What you need is like to just be more agile or be more flexible, leaner, like that kind of thing.
Well, here's the
It's
thing. It's like the more mobile and flexible you are, the bigger
Mhm.
you're gonna get, right?
Sure,
Like,
sure.
so
Yeah.
that's for me, that's played a big role in growing my lower half, is I've had to really focus on my flexibility.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's been
Yeah.
great, but it's tough. It's something you cannot
Yeah.
ignore. Like, it's something you got to do every day.
Yeah. It's
So
tough. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, I usually always do it after cardio or my workout, and then after a shower.
Yeah. It's tough for me to find time because I'm like, okay, well, I have like this amount, because I'm actually also in nursing school myself right now. I
Oh,
just
nice.
started. Yeah. So I'm in my first semester. So I'm grinding there, and it's like, but I don't want to like completely let go of working out or anything. So I'm like, so I have this amount of time. Like, where do I put it? And it's like weight training, cardio, like
Yeah.
flexibility. So I'm trying to like distribute it like appropriately, so I get everything in.
Try to
But
do it, well, like for me, I'll do it if you ever have downtime before you go to
uh-huh,
bed, just while you're watching a show.
just
Just do like
stretch.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So
Bada
so
bing,
I
bada boom, you're done.
yeah, so I say that, right? Like I say, I don't have a lot of time, but in reality, I probably do. I just waste it on like watching TV and doing like
Oh, it's
things I
not
shouldn't
wasted.
do.
It's just finding out what time is gonna work best for you, right? And it's
Yeah,
sometimes we forget. Like, it's
sure.
it's I'll be doing something. I'm like, oh, I should probably, be stretching right now, or I
Yeah,
should probably, you know, get back to this person. It's really hard, man. We've got so many
yeah.
distractions in life, so I don't think it's not that you don't
Yeah,
have
well,
time.
thanks,
It's,
thanks for I appreciate that.
of
Thanks for
course,
the
of course.
support. Yeah. All right. So we can go to wellness now.
Yes, wellness.
So that this was a great great show like for
I,
their division too. Like
yeah, I
it
agree.
was they did fantastic. All the girls did great. Cassandra won. I think she's a Canadian too, right?
She
Is
is
she? Yeah.
Canadian. Yep.
So there you have another Canadian champ. And then Angela second, Ryan third, Alexis, who I'm, you know, through the fitness industry fairly close with. We
Oh,
don't,
really? Yeah,
yeah.
I see she's got a pretty big support system here in Canada too.
Oh, does
I know.
she? Oh, that's
Well, like,
fantastic.
just from what I see, like a lot of my friends, I see like I think they follow her and
Right.
everything. So,
Well, I'll tell you this, and I say that with a caveat because I don't want it to be like, oh, like we don't the first time I met her in person was at the Arnold,
oh, okay.
but I support her. She's been on my show before, and I'm happy to see her do so well, because fourth place,
She looks great.
at
Yeah.
a show like this and her package, she was amazing. So yeah, she definitely has my support. And then Marissa fifth and Andrea sixth. So yeah, Alexis, she has a lot of support, and it's pretty amazing. I follow her for like two main reasons. One, like we connected through fitness, and she came on my show before. But then two, she's also a nurse, so it's like
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's like two things that she does that I'm like excited to see. So because of those things, I'm excited to see her succeed.
Of
And the kind
course.
of person that she is. She's very nice too. So, but
Yeah, good for her.
yeah, she brought a fantastic look, I thought. And the area where I was sitting when she came out on stage, like all like I felt like I was sitting in her like box, like whenever you're in a game or something and
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah, yeah.
I felt like it was like all her fans were there in my box. But I guess like they were kind of spread out. It just felt that way. She just had so much support. Like when she came out, people were screaming her,
That's the
name and all
best
that
feeling.
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So she did great. Cassandra looked fantastic too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, she talked to Arnold a little bit about how, she came from a bigger division from figure, I think is what she said. And so like she was talking about how she had to stop training upper body so she can kind of bring it down to the level where where they wanted wellness to be.
Right.
And so Arnold, trying to be funny, he was like, you don't train upper body? Like what? Like he had no idea what that was, just joking
Arnold is so
around.
funny.
Yeah, especially at
He's
75. Like he's super funny at 75 because it's like
yeah.
your granddad cracking jokes,
Yeah.
about bodybuilding.
All the dad jokes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the show? This part of it?
I love wellness. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's great. I watching it, I became a really big fan of Rayanne. I
Mm-hmm.
actually found out about Rayanne. I want to say last year before the O. So I think it was like
Mm-hmm.
maybe August or whatever. Because I was like, wow, this girl looks a lot like Fran. Like
Yeah.
she's very similar to Francielle.
Yeah.
And then also I really liked Andrea's look as well.
Right.
Andrea Harenko, I think you pronounce her name. I think she's just very, I don't know, I really like her. She just got really good
Yeah.
genetics. I don't know. I really like her look.
Yeah.
But Rayanne, I think, is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge fan of her, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see her at the O. Like, I think
I think she's gonna.
she's quite young, I believe, early 20s.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. So wellness is interesting for me because I like you look at them and they're like to me they're very like lean. They're very
Oh,
muscular.
they're
Like
peeled.
they're peeled. They're like, and sometimes the way people describe wellness, I'm like, I don't know if I would describe it that way because I mean, they have great physiques. So it's like I don't know. I don't know where I would because they're like bikini-esque, but then they're also like very muscular and very peeled at the same time, which is I think why it makes it why it makes it so interesting to watch them because they kind of like that have that have that combination of both.
Yeah, I think that
So
it's slowly moving away from
like
how they're saying it's related to bikini. I don't
mhm,
when I watch the division now, I don't think that. I like just based on the size.
mhm,
There's just so much size. There's so much muscle.
yeah.
So and the condition too. It's like they like I said, I don't think it's as close to bikini as it was when it originally came out.
Mhm,
But some of these competitors are really just thriving right now, and I'm really
yeah.
excited to see the O because it's like when you watch the Open, it's
Right.
like holy shit, they're huge. Like there's just so much mass. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I'm trying to find Alexa's
I
page,
think
but
somebody said watch some other podcasts and somebody said that it reminds them of women's bodybuilding, like
so
just the
like
size and condition on them.
yeah, so it's like in a sense, right? Like not necessarily in in their like not in the sense that they're as big on the upper body or have the same like overall look, but when you look at like you said, their legs, their conditioning from the side, like
certain areas.
right, you see I just pulled up a a video of Rianne and they were turning to the side. It's like you saw the side leg. It was like the side leg was huge, and I'm like, that's a big muscular shredded side leg shot,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, they're quarter turns.
yeah,
You can really
yeah.
see the size in the hams and the glutes.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like before I on the podcast, the first time you had me on the podcast, I talked about
Right.
how I would like to go wellness eventually.
Hmm.
But if you look at the top, whatever now, I'm like,
Hmm.
that's going to take me like 10 years.
Yeah, so I think what's happening is they're just becoming like more developed, and the craziest thing, sorry, I don't mean to like go on a tangent. I
No, no,
can
you're fine.
So on my laptop, it like will not pull up Alexis's page for some weird
You
reason,
know what?
but
My
on my
my Instagram's
phone,
been
it's doing it. I don't get it. Like I don't understand. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, sorry.
yeah, my phone's been acting weird too with that. Like certain pages I can't look up, but they're there. Like
Yeah.
Maureen, for example.
Yeah.
If I search Maureen, she doesn't come up in my search bar. But we both follow each other. So I'm like, why doesn't it
Right.
come up?
Same thing with Alexis. We both follow each other, but I guess now I found her. So
Oh, there we go.
look how shredded she is.
See, I like her size.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got a good size, and I think she's not too big and not, too small. That perfect look
Yeah.
for wellness. And also I think she's more in line with her size with Fran, because Fran is not
Yes.
large. Fran isn't like overly large,
She's
in her
just
legs. She's just
she's just
good shape,
perfect.
good structure. Yeah,
Yeah.
good physique overall. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, I was happy to see Cassandra win. That was great. Overall,
What
it
did
was
you
like
think of Angela?
I feel like Angela is like always placing second to everything. It's like is it just me, or she's always like coming in like second or third? Like it's like she's almost there, but they're not giving it to her. And so from my understanding, I had one of the guys that was helping Angela for a long time on my podcast a while back. And he was, I mean, this was just when wellness was coming to the US, and he thought shoo-in Angela was going to win the Olympia, because Angela apparently, from my understanding what he told me, she was winning everything in the Hispanic countries, like everything in South America, everything in Latin countries, as far as wellness, all the shows. Like she was the most winningest like wellness athlete that they had. So they thought like she was definitely going to win. And then like she didn't win the first one, and like she didn't win the second one. And
I think
she
she
doesn't.
won the first one, I think.
No, I don't think so.
Her first Olympia? Didn't
I
she
think
win?
Fran won the first one, and then she repeated again.
Because
This
Fran got her pro card afterwards.
Let's check. Let's see who's
Because I
right.
think it was Angela and Yarishna
So you could be
top
right. Maybe
two.
I'm wrong.
Or
Let
maybe
me
that
see.
wasn't maybe that was no. Fran did win the first one. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think so.
I'm thinking of the New York Pro, and I'm thinking of
Yeah, I think you're.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of a different show,
Yes, New York Pro. That's
because
what I'm
that
thinking about.
yeah, she wins back to back. So 20,
Because it was
yeah,
her and
23,
Yarishna
24.
uh kind of neck and neck for those shows.
Right.
Maybe the Arnold too. Because I know Fran did the Arnold amateur, and that's where she won. Her and
Right.
Issa
So
were
she
actually
beat
in the same class.
yeah, she beat Issa, and yeah, Issa got side, which is, if we can, go ahead and switch to talk about Issa, because she was on point to come to this show, and so I think it was an injury or something that she
Meniscus,
did.
like me.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
you're not the only one. See,
Not the only
it even
one.
happens at the highest levels. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and she decided, like you decided, not to, not
I
to do
wish
the
she would have
show.
done it though. I wish she would have done it,
It
but
depends. It depends, how far out, how she looked, how much more she had to go.
exactly. I think
but
she announced it at like 3 weeks out,
yeah. So it's
something like that.
close.
But I
I
don't know
think,
what happened. But it seems like she's training hard now. Like she posted some. She's been posting some training videos. I don't know if they're old videos, but
yeah. It could be, but
maybe she
yeah,
just wants to focus on the O.
could
I think that's
yes,
probably best because like
something. Maybe it wasn't bad enough for her to complete. Like she could have pushed and did it, but like decided, you know what? Let me just not, and then
she
focus on the Olympia.
also she also I think it was a little bit before the O last year or after the Arnold last year. She lost her mom
Mm,
unexpectedly, and I think that really
yeah.
took its toll on her too. So
Well,
like
that will do
mentally,
it.
I get it. Yeah, I
That
get
will
it.
do it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would have loved to see her because honestly, I think she would have won this show. I mean,
Oh yeah,
if she came in at the condition and the look that she brought to the Olympia, I think she wins this show.
I agree. Yeah.
Um, yeah, but as far as Angela, I mean, I think Angela looks great. To me personally, she's just, we talk about height and what's like who's shorter, who's not. Shortness being like it might be a disadvantage. I almost feel like Angela being so tall is a little bit of a disadvantage. It's like I don't know. It just kind of throws when I compare her to the other girls. When I look at the muscle, and I'm a guy that likes muscle,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I feel like she's getting out muscled and she's kind of long. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with where the division is going
Mhm.
and then where she has kind of stayed, but I will say that if she were to just polish up a couple things, I
Mhm.
think her routine, if you watch her at the previous O's, she doesn't have, I think she struggles with her stage presence a little bit. Like you can
Mhm.
kind of tell she's nervous. Like she's not like you look at Fran, look at Issa, like they come out and then it's like they don't even have to think about it. They just
Right.
do it. Whereas like
Right.
Angela, you can kind of tell she's like still thinking about certain steps or
Yeah.
so I think that her presentation plays a big role. So if she were she's been getting better though. Like at the Arnolds, like she was much improved. Cassandra was much improved. Cassandra,
Yeah. Cassandra
her
was
routine,
much improved. Yeah.
oh yeah, big time. And that's such a people like we talked about this on the last podcast. And I talked about it so
Hmm.
much. Like posing is such a big part
Yeah.
of who is first and second.
Yeah.
I think that Angela, she could be polished a little bit more in the routine. And I think she could just little things with the glute ham tie-in, or whether, it's a little bit more lines in the quads, a
Yeah.
little bit more detail in certain areas, I think would really help her. But we haven't seen her like that yet.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't.
Right. And I think like you said, one
But
and
overall,
two.
she's beautiful, like beautiful shape. The waist, her
Right.
shoulders, her lats, the quads are big, glutes are nice and round. Like she has a little bit of a higher insert on the calf, so it kind of makes it pop a little bit more. But she doesn't really have that like I don't know, that like graininess and hardness that a lot of
Yes.
them are starting to bring.
Yes, I think that. I mean, you saw Alexis right there just a few seconds ago. I played that video off her Instagram. You see how hard Alexis is, like how
Yeah.
how ripped she is, how lean she is, how like just like saran papered abs.
Yeah.
I mean, everything is just peeled, and it's like I feel like Angela is bringing like a little bit of a more like softer look, and I don't know if that's intentional or not. Maybe it is intentional. It probably is
Yeah.
intentional. I think she's good enough to get peeled if she wants to. Maybe she just needs to change her approach
It's
or
weird because she's
goal.
lean. She's
Yeah.
lean, but it's like, man, I don't know. I don't know if it's like just
Yeah.
a drug thing, if it's a
Yeah.
training thing, if it's
It,
a
peak week thing. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
it's hard, but I really like her look. It's just when majority is not like that, it
Right.
plays against her. And then also, like you were saying, the height that plays against her. So
Right.
that's why I was saying, like, I think if she were to come in a little bit more polished in certain areas, that may override that.
Right.
I would like to see her do well. It's just,
Right.
she's right there. She's right
Right.
there.
And by all means, like we're like you said, she's right there. So we're not saying she's you know she's I mean she made it. She's arrived. Like she's there. She's just she's missing something because they're obviously rewarding another look over her. So it might might be just a matter of like picking at straws, but whatever that little thing is, like if she can figure that out, then she'll probably be winning a lot of these shows. I mean, she's coming in
Yeah.
second at the Arnold. I mean, that's no, that's
And
nothing to
if
sneeze at.
you have other girls that are coming into it that are just that are going to be on, like if Fran is on, Issa is on, I don't see her above those two. Um
100%.
they're just
100%.
it's kind of hard to knock them, especially Fran. Fran, like
Right.
in my opinion, she is like perfect.
Yeah.
Like out of any division or any like athlete I've really seen, like female athlete, she has to be the best in my opinion. Like if I were to ever choose my dream physique or to look like somebody, I would look like her.
Yeah.
Like
She
unbelievable.
gets the most from like the most support from within her divisions and others. Like I mean, the only person I could think of that gets more support than Fran is C-Bomb, and it's like outside of him, like she gets the most support. People love her. People are impressed with her. People are impressed with how she looks. People are
Yeah.
impressed with who she is, like her
She's great. I
personality and
love
so
her.
forth. So it's like I think she's a great ambassador to the sport from her physique and from like just how she, presents herself to the outside, so yeah, so people are just adore her. So yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from
Yeah,
for
she
sure.
reminds me of Angelica a lot, who is
Hmm.
like I love Angelica so much.
Yeah,
So yeah. Must just
they're both Brazilians, right?
both Brazil. I was gonna say must
Yeah,
be the Brazilians, man. And like look at
yeah,
Ramon.
yeah, for sure. So that's so I was gonna go ahead and go
Yeah,
into that.
classic. Let's get into it.
Right. So Ramon, won. Oars, came in second. Alex,
So
let me.
happy for Alex.
Yeah, I mean, that was great. Those are great. Yeah, it was a great competitive lineup. I think Ramon definitely was like number one, and then Oars was like there was significant split between them. I think Oars looked good, but I think Ramon just kind of had it. He got really emotional at the when Arnold talked to him. So I don't.
Shit's crazy, man. Shit's
Yeah.
crazy, man. I loved when he said that. That
Yeah.
was amazing.
So so I was really happy for him. He did a fantastic job.
I was over the moon for him, and I'm over the moon for both him and hers. I'm such a big fan of them.
Yeah.
Alex too. So I was gonna say like I'm really happy for Alex because I think Alex from a physique standpoint is really just really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, I saw Mike there. I thought Mike was better at the O from what I saw. I didn't get to see too much of the comparisons. I was going to ask you
Mhm.
actually if you ended up finding a video of the comparisons because
Compare.
I
So let me see comparisons for them. I
for
can look it up.
classic,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can look it up. See, you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
So kind of like what I was saying about the excuse me, the wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Ramon is kind of similar in the sense of the posing like Angela. He kind of sometimes can look a little uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I hope he works on that a little bit because I think he's so amazing.
Yeah. I guess they started off with Ramon already, like basically leaving.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
and
I think
this.
Mike is good. I think he looks a little flat to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people are
Yeah,
talking
he's
about
got good
the weight
arms.
cap.
Yeah, so I heard that like well I heard that Ramon I think it was Ramon that I was said that he's just like he's
Oh,
right
he's
at
like
go ahead.
he's right at the cusp
Yeah, he's right
anytime.
at the top and it's like so he has to basically just suck himself down and start like cutting muscle out, to just make the weight, which then of course affects his overall physique. And so it just sucks, because at that point, like, some people are like, well, he should go to open. And it's like, well, but I mean, I get that some people are like, he should go to open. I get that. But maybe he doesn't want that look. Maybe he doesn't want like to be, that big. Maybe he wants to be in classic. So then can't we just, like, I don't know, get rid of the weight and then just enforce the look? But I get what people are saying. If you get rid of the weight, then it's gonna be,
It's yeah.
crazy. It's gonna get crazy. And then, so I don't know if there's
Well,
a
I
right
mean,
answer.
I think of it this way, like, yeah, it would be nice to get rid of it or to change it, maybe up it a little bit.
Right.
But I'm just thinking, so I think him and Chris are the same height. If
Mm-hmm.
not, maybe Chris is a little bit taller than him.
Yeah.
But it's like Chris has had to do that for how many years now?
Yeah.
He's had to find ways to pull back with
Yeah.
still
You know what? Do
being
you
that
know what's
weight.
crazy is they're saying that Chris actually has room to grow. I don't know how true that
For
is.
his really? I
That's
don't
what they're
think.
saying, but it doesn't look like it, does it? It doesn't look like he would have the weight to grow.
Yeah, if you look at the size difference between like him, Ramon, and even Urs,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what?
Yeah, yeah.
How?
Well,
Yeah, how does
yeah.
that make sense?
I think Chris's path is just to go ahead and win as many as he wants to, and then just bounce, and then strictly become like an entrepreneur, and he's already an entrepreneur, but
Yeah.
even more so, once he gets out of this competition part of the sport. Um, but yeah, I don't think anybody's beating Chris, to be honest with you. It's just that they're just so far off, from his look, unless I don't know. He would have to come in really, really out of shape. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I
Like
don't
he'd
see.
have to be very off. Yeah.
Right, right, and I
Yeah.
don't see that ever happening.
Yeah, I
So
agree. Especially now that he's with Hani.
right, right. So that was interesting that he left Ian, right, and then
Yeah.
went to Hunt. But apparently, it was an amicable thing. So it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't like anything crazy.
No, no, no,
So
no. I think for both of them, it was the best decision. Like just
right.
seeing like where like because when Ian was coaching him at the beginning of like his classic career, Ian was kind of like off season,
Mm-hmm.
really working towards getting back on the pro stage and could really kind of just chill, focus
Yeah.
on, but then he started back in the pro leagues and was super competitive. So it was like sometimes you got to look out for yourself too. So I think
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that was the best. And they talked about that in the video. I think it was
Right.
best for them to go separate ways. And me personally, I think it's good to find out different ways of going about your preps and learning different things and um being able to just, I don't know, get a different point of view,
Right.
have a different approach, whether that's physically or mentally. I think that's really important for longevity, especially. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think like you said, he'll go
Yeah.
down in history
Yeah.
as the best. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anyone is gonna be as good as him. And they often talk about how like the men's physique or men's classic is gonna kind of take over bodybuilding. And I would agree in the sense that I personally think the look is more like conventionally appealing. They're not as big, they're not as monstrous. Although now we're getting some shape guys into the men's open. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is that it's like really the only person that's overall like popular is Chris. It's like once Chris leaves, I don't know if these other guys can, hold a candle to his fame, so to speak, amongst not even just because Chris is popular not just among bodybuilders, but he's also popular like on the like with the normal people, like just people that, just work out just casually in the gym, or, might know him by other means. It's like, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody else can carry that kind of that weight, so yeah.
I think to the extent that he has, I
Yeah.
agree. I don't think people will be able to hold that, but I think that Urs and Ramon are very good.
Hmm.
Just they're characters,
Yeah.
they're very
Yeah.
nice. I think that like one thing that also really helps Chris is that it's easy for like a Canadian and American people because it's like he speaks English, right? It's
100%.
like
100%.
sometimes there can be a little bit of a language barrier that will kind of um not hinder you from more exposure, but I think it it does have a little bit of a what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, no, I get what, I don't
It
know.
plays a role. So like if,
Right.
yeah, like Urs, for example, I like to watch his videos, but sometimes
Mhm.
it's not in English, but it's like I try to,
Right.
watch it and hope that I can understand what's going on. And same with
Right.
Ramon. But I think that yeah,
Yeah, I mean, people like to see your personality when you're like a person like of, of like stature in the sport. And so when they look at you and they listen to your videos, if it's like, if their language is a barrier, sometimes you as an athlete can't really um
relate.
express yourself the way you would in your own language, so it's
Right,
like,
yes.
so your personality doesn't come out like the same way, so it kind of hinders, your likability, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. I mean, we can move on to the men's open, but with that same breath, you look at a Rami, you look at a Hadi Chupin, like people love them for their physiques, but they don't really know them. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, it's just hard. At least not people on this side of the world. Now, obviously, people over there do, but
Right.
not here. And so, like,
Which is where bodybuilding is so big. Yeah.
right, right. Which, it's so it gets that way. But so let me go ahead and kind of pull up this one here. Okay, so Samson wins the Open.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Nick coming in second, and um Andrew Jack coming in third. And then we can talk about the rest. What did you think? Any like just off the cuff, top of the mind thoughts about the show that you were having?
Oh,
Like,
it was like Christmas Day to me.
mhm.
I just thought it was one of the most competitive Arnolds we've seen, and then one of the most exciting Arnolds we've seen in a very long time.
Mhm.
And it was like you were saying, just like really sets the standard for the Olympia
Yeah.
afterwards. And knowing that the Olympia is going to be a little bit earlier now is like even more exciting. So it was really really awesome to see, and
Mhm.
it's it's great for me because it just motivates the fuck out of me. Like
Mhm.
even though open is not my division, it's just like I love the open division so much that when I watch it, it just because you think of okay, you think of all the categories, right?
Mhm.
And you think of who I have to be careful here, but who has to do the most?
Mhm.
You think
Right.
of open.
Right.
Open,
Right.
they're doing the fucking most with everything. So it's
Right.
like that's the most motivating to me. So it's like
Mhm.
if they can do that, then and I could do, a certain percent of it's just very motivating for me. So
Sure.
it being as exciting as it was really just got me fired up for my own prep and then for the Olympia coming up because the last time we spoke,
Mhm.
we were able to talk about the 2020 and
Mhm.
the 2021 Olympia,
Mhm.
I believe. Did we talk about the 2021 Olympia? Yes, we did because
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
it was Rami who won those too.
Right. Right.
Uh so now that we kind of have we've seen the results of the Arnold, we've seen that Rami's kind of been pushed down
Mhm.
and we've seen people move up, but then there's also people in front of those people who have moved up. It's like, whoa, this Olympia is gonna be wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I am so excited. So yeah, Sorry, I'm getting just
No,
too
no,
hyped up
no.
now.
You're fine. You're fine. I was gonna say it's funny that you say that about like men's open. Obviously, that's not nowhere near your division. I kind of feel the same way about wellness sometimes, and my wife would be like, "I don't understand. Like, why does this motivate you?" But it's not like I'm not going. Obviously, I'm not. That's not the look I'm going for. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, just the fact that they can push themselves and get into that shape and and like and have a competitive show like that and everything, it's like exciting. It's exciting for the
Yes.
sport in general and my own like desire to work out and get better, and so forth.
Yeah. Every division has that effect on me, but it's the
Right,
open that has that effect on me the most.
right.
And I say that because when I first started, I literally had zero muscle. Like I was a
Negative
stick.
muscle. Yeah.
Negative. Like I was so little. So I'm like, how do I, because you see some of these people, you could just tell they just growing
Mm,
up, they just have more mass. Some of
right, right.
these some of these girls, some of these guys, they just have a good base. They've always had the good base since they were a kid. Man, I've gone back in time. I'm like, I looked at myself, I'm like, okay, where could I have gone better? So
Yeah.
for me, I've had to really check off every box to get
Hmm.
to where I've been, and it's taken a really long time. But
Hmm.
uh the open guys, it's like you think big muscle, put on as much mass, and because I was so small, it was always that put on mass, put on mass, put on mass. So when I see
Hmm.
these guys, it's super motivating for me, and that's I think that's why.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And yeah, I completely understand, where you're
Yeah, like
coming
I'm still
from.
small. I'm still
Right.
super small, but I'm compared to how I was when I was later in my teens, like when I was
Hmm.
like, or yeah, even my teen years, like 14 to like 19, I was so little. Like, yeah, I feel like a different
You're like,
human. I feel like a different
right.
human now, but it's yeah,
Well,
big
sometimes
contrast.
sometimes I'll see people post like girls or guys, but lately like my mind goes to a female pictures where they would post like when they were real young.
Transformations.
Yeah, where they were young and they're like super stick skinny and now they're like, like muscular and it's not like sometimes even if they're not competitors, it's not like they're this is like unreal transformation, but you can tell that they've like worked really hard and they look so much better now than they did back then, and it's
Yeah.
like they've completely shifted their course of like life with regard to fitness, and it's
Oh
like
yeah.
so and you can tell that they've the development's there now, so
If you look at the a lot of the wellness chicks who do
mhm,
like transformations,
mhm.
a lot of them were heavier. Like
Yeah,
they were bigger girls when they were
right,
younger. And it makes sense. Like,
yeah,
because then they just have to kind of really carve out the muscle and just get a
mhm,
little bit leaner and they're like right there. And
yeah,
then a lot of the times with like bikini, some of them are a lot smaller.
right,
Or, some of them are starting out a little bit bigger, but it's really cool to kind of see
right.
everybody's journey is different.
Sure, sure.
For
It's
me,
not
I was never blessed with a base at all. Like I
uh-huh.
literally had,
Yeah.
had nothing. So
Well, you built the base, you had to build
I'm
the
getting
base.
there.
So
I'm
yeah.
finally feeling like a grown woman now.
Yeah. That's funny. I was talking to this one girl on I think she's Canadian too. Amina, I can't remember exactly what her name was. I think so. Amina is her name.
Yeah.
And she's a bikini competitor as well. And she was talking about when she's in prep, like when she starts dropping all the body fat and everything and like just starts really leaning out and getting peeled. It's like she says she looks like a kid. Like she's
Yeah.
like she's so small, So even though she
Somebody,
has muscle and she's developed, now to a certain point, it's like she's such a small person that like when she starts shedding the fat and all that, it's like she just becomes less and less of a person. Like, like so it's
do you see
wild.
my wrists?
Uh-huh.
Look at my
Yeah.
wrists.
Yeah.
Like I am so little.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me if I was 18 the other week.
Oh
I was
well.
like, what?
See
18?
now,
I
now
wish.
see now you have like the petite physique, and then you also are Asian. So now
Yeah.
you're gonna be young for really forever. No,
I
no
People
doubt.
always make fun of me because how little I am.
Yeah,
And
that's hilarious.
it is funny because when people see my Instagram and then they meet me in person after,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Oh my God, man. Like, holy shit, you're so small." I'm like,
Yeah,
they're like, "I wasn't expecting you to be this small." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Like
yeah,
my last show, I was like 109 pounds on stage. But it's like if you look at my pictures, you wouldn't have thought that I was that little. Like,
yeah. It's sometimes pictures depending on like what angles you take him from. What and you said like you're kind of have longer legs, like that can play a factor into like how you're perceived, online as opposed to like
yeah.
real life. It's different. So.
Did you Armin, did you watch that show Physical 100
So
on
I thought
Netflix?
I thought about watching it and then I didn't. Somebody told
Oh,
me it was really good. Is it?
I highly
Okay.
recommend it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
one of the first quests that they need to do is they need to hang from like
Uh-huh.
a bar over goes over like a thing of water. I think they're like, I don't know, 20-30 feet in the
Yeah,
air.
yeah.
And I remember telling my mom, I was watching with my mom the first episode, and I was like, hey, if I was like stage ready,
Mm-hmm.
I'd win this easily because
Yeah.
I'd be like 100 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. You would just
I
you would
mean,
just be there
I'm
forever.
like a
You fall
feather.
you might fall asleep up there.
Yeah. But now, no, absolutely not. Would not be
That's
able to do it.
that's too
Like,
funny. I
yeah.
I heard that like all that, which I could have told you that too, but like I heard that all the bodybuilders, the ones with like a ton of muscle, like they don't do well, especially on the like
Like,
endurance type of exercises. So
oh yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I go up the stairs and I'm gassed.
yeah,
And I'm not
right,
even heavy.
right, yeah, yeah, for sure.
That's why I
So
was like, I really need to be work like get more agile. I need to work on my cardio a little bit
yeah,
more because it's so used to like bodybuilding style is so move the weight A to B in one plane, right?
right.
So
And
it's
that,
like,
so I was listening to a podcast, and I don't want to get too far like off the show,
oh yeah,
but I was listening to a podcast. I think Dave Palumbo, and somebody asked about like, oh well, bodybuilders would do well and like so and so sport. And he's like, and Dave is like, is very knowledgeable, and he's like, you guys don't understand. So like bodybuilding all their life, they're moving weight in one linear motion. Like everything is on one plane, like,
yep,
back and forth, whatever angle you're doing, but it's back and forth, back and forth. Most athletics, any sport is lateral movements. You know what
yep,
I'm saying? So it's like, as soon as you make a lateral movement, you're going to tear everything in your knee,
yeah,
So
yeah.
so
It's
you got to
pretty
get accustomed
crazy.
to it. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta. That's why like I try to work on. I try to do like a conditioning day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least once a week to just kind of like work on moving my body in different ways and
Right.
explosiveness and stuff like that. I'm gonna
Sure.
hopefully start boxing again soon, which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
So,
that's smart. That's smart. That's not just smart for competing, but that's also just smart overall
oh,
health
I
and
get peeled. I'll get peeled
longevity.
from that. It just
Yeah.
helps. Like it just makes the muscle look different because you're firing different fibers, right? So,
Right. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. For sure. Well, a lot of the bikini girls I see, they do different things. They're not like you'll see them run, you'll see them do other you'll excuse me. You almost see bikini competitors work out like athletes. They're probably the closest division where I see them do athletic stuff. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because they don't need to focus as much on building a ton of mass. So they're like, hey, we can do other things. Um, but yeah, but I see them run, I see them do different things, jump rope, this, that, the other, like a
I
lot.
think it depends on the physique for sure.
Mhm.
Uh but yeah, I think it's definitely a category that can afford to, and it just helps. It helps. Like
Yeah.
for me, I wanted to bring up my calves, and I was, I have brought them up, but what other thing can I add to the list that'll help it even more? And for me, it
Wow.
was explosive movements.
Yeah.
So I was sprinting and I was doing like jump squats where I just kind of
Hmm.
push off the toe and really just kind of activate and hit different fibers. And I felt like that was really helping. So
Yeah.
some of the girls I see them doing like, yeah, I see some of them do some crazy, crazy stuff. But I've found it definitely helps with just certain detail or certain look that you're going for. So
Right, right. That
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. So to pivot back to the Open, so what do you think about Ramy? Like, you think he's done?
I love Ramy. I've always loved Ramy. I think he's great. I was really
Mhm.
happy to see him come back improved at the Arnold, following his Olympia package. Do I think he's done? Not necessarily. I think that it's a little bit too much to say he's out of the picture for the Olympia. Like, look at this
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah.
Like, when I watched the prejudging, I was like, holy shit, Rami
So,
looks
so yeah.
huge.
So let me tell you, his routine in the night show, he looked fantastic.
Oh,
He looked
I watched the
fantastic.
nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
got it
he
with my
was
phone camera.
much
And
better.
even from where I was sitting, which wasn't that close, he looked incredible. Like I think he looked so good here. And I mean, fourth isn't bad. Like, it's not a bad place. He just, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like you could have given him third, really. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough, right? Because they all look so good, and Andrew's got his, his attributes for sure.
Exactly.
I just felt like Ryman came back so much better here than he did at the Olympia, and they kind of left it at that. So like they didn't really like he didn't do as well as people would have thought if they people thought that if he came back better that he would do better in the show, but in fact they look like they're kind of pushed him down a little bit still. So is this like a situation where they're just going for a totally different kind of representative of men's open, where Mass Monster Day is kind of over, or like what do we or something about him they don't like? I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I think that it's tough because Rami did very much come in improved. Do I think there's a couple things that were a little bit off? Yeah, I do think like some things looked a little bit odd to me.
Mhm.
And the thing is because Rami's been in the game for so long, we've seen him at his best. And
Mhm.
we know how judging can be. And unfortunately, when they see you at your best and you don't
Right.
follow that, they kind of take that into account. At least I don't know that for sure, but based on what I've seen,
Right.
even with me, like other national shows I've done, I had one judge tell me, "Hey, Milan, like we've seen you better, so that's why you placed the way that you did." When I was like, "Oh shit,"
Right.
But I think that with Rami, that's kind of the case. But it's hard because it's like, look at this,
So you
this
see that,
shot right
yeah,
here.
yeah, like you see this side shot, side leg. It's like that's the best side leg on stage.
This
There's
is
not,
my favorite shot for Rami.
yeah, it's the best side leg on stage. I mean,
So
that's
good.
unreal. That's unreal. You're literally seeing everything that a leg could possibly have to offer. Look at the how the hamstring like kind of hangs down.
I couldn't
Everything is
agree more. That's
detailed.
my favorite shot. I remember the first time I saw that in person in
Hmm.
2020. I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. And
Right.
like just his mass is just,
Hmm.
how can you not
Right.
stare at him? So I
Like,
think it's so hard, man. Like,
yeah.
because Andrew came in, there was a lot of hype around him, and I think that he came in better than he did at the O. Do I
Hmm.
think he came in at his best? No,
Right.
but he's so good. His
So I,
posing is so good. His presentation, his presence, like he just steps out there and it's like your eyes are just drawn to him. He's just got such a beautiful physique.
right.
So, Rami, I
Best
sometimes,
abdominals, best
oh
abdominals in the
yeah,
game for sure. For
it's like an
sure.
action figure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really hard, man. It's like apples and oranges with this.
Right.
Uh I would have liked to see Rami do better. I think I you know what, with this top four, anyway, it could have gone anyway.
Right. So this shot specifically, like Andrew's lacking, I feel like a lot. Like,
Definitely. I mean,
I
the
mean,
angle's not,
the greatest. Yeah, I
it
know.
should be a little bit more to the right, but like,
Right. But from what we're seeing, I mean, here it looks like he's lacking a little bit.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Rami looked good. I
Is
don't know.
this this is finals, right? Yeah, this was
Think
finals.
so. Yeah. Yeah. Rami, I said, I was about to say Armin look good. Rami look good. I think, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, it does feel, it's like he could have had more tricep like in the show. I will say that. I don't know if can't really see it in these shots, but
I
yeah.
did notice that, and lots of people bring it up, and it's like, okay, you want to say Rami wants more tricep, right? Or
Right.
needs more tricep, but it's like, okay, then you can argue that Andrew needs more arms, needs more
Right.
forearms, needs
Right.
more quads, but he placed above Rami. So it's like,
Right. More
can we
legs,
really
really.
say,
Yeah.
can we really say it's just the triceps?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel
So
to me, and I could be completely wrong. And I think I think you made a good point about when you bring your best. I think that the judges think that Rami's best is probably not going to happen from this point on. I think they're looking for a more aesthetically pleasing physique
like
and
polished look, yeah.
polished, good shape, good structure, a pretty physique, small waist. There's one problem I have with that theory, right? So supposedly that they gave it to Samson because of those things, right? Like he's conditioned enough, he's not overly peeled like Nick. Nick is, I mean, look at Nick's conditioning here.
Yeah, yeah.
It's ungodly, right? So like, but Samson is conditioned enough. He's got a pretty physique, small waist, good shape, all the right things, poses well. The next closest physique to him out of the top three, if you're going for shape and prettiness and small waist, is not Nick.
It's
It's
Andrew,
Andrew.
yeah.
It's Andrew.
Yeah.
So for all the same reasons that Samson beat Nick, Andrew should have beat Nick. Or you go Nick first, Samson, and then Andrew, right? Like it's kind of when you put Nick in the middle, it's kind of weird to me. Like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Because you're saying Samson beat him for these things, but you're saying he beat Andrew, but Andrew has all those things too. So it's like it would have made more sense if they would have gave it to Nick and then put Samson second if they were going to do that, or put Nick third, but I don't think they would have put Nick third because his conditioning is like insane,
And the size, yeah, is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so my whole point about that was just that's the only thing that was kind of strange to me is that they put Nick in the middle, and it feels like he should have either been first and or third. It's I don't know. Like I was listening to Fuad, and he was saying, well, they don't judge it that way; they judge the whole physique. But I still don't like. It's still kind of strange to me. And as I'm looking, like here, like we'll see. Okay, so Samson, how did they? Maybe I'm.
So
Yeah,
so it
these
goes
new.
based off of the best out of 5 of the 10 for prejudge and for finals, and then they add that total up.
Okay.
So Samson had perfect score across the board for prejudge and for finals.
Okay, where Nick? Let me see.
Nick was so
Am I missing something? Yeah.
yeah, so somebody actually, okay, so for prejudge he has 11 points, which means that Andrew, one judge out of the 5 had Andrew over Nick. So Nick
I see.
one judge had Nick third, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
I
And
see.
then for finals, 5 judges had Nick second.
Got it. Okay, that's a lot of math I'm doing in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So Nick. So how would you look at these? Then he's got perfect scores. So you got perfect 10.
Yeah.
Then Nick's got 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Andrew 29. So
Okay.
who got it's quite disappointed in Kamal at this show. I was hoping he was going to be a little bit
Yeah.
better,
I
but
mean, but he didn't. I mean, he didn't look terrible.
he didn't look terrible, but I was hoping But then again, it's like this lineup was so good.
Yeah. So look at Sean. I don't know if you saw, but they did compare Sean
Sean and
Clarita
Rami.
with Rami, and
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. Like I will say
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. But I mean, Sean looked good. You know, some people were like, well, he should have went ahead of Rami, but it's hard, right? Like, cause
I'm a huge fan of Sean.
yeah,
I was there when he won the 212 and I
uh-huh,
lost my voice. I told this story a decent amount. But I was always rooting for Sean because I always thought Sean was like a little he was like a little rodent. He
uh-huh,
was like a little like I don't know. He was just so to me in every aspect he was Mr. Olympia, you
right.
know? The condition, the size, his posing, his presentation, his presence,
He has like
like
a perfect look too. Perfect look.
everything. So
Yeah.
I was really excited to see him in this comparison. Like so many people like, oh, he's too small. How could you? It's
Yeah.
disrespectful, blah 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 blah. I'm like, I disagree. I think Sean's great and I'm very happy for
Right.
him.
Well, here's the thing. Like the amount of muscle that he packed on his frame is not small.
Exactly.
He has a small structure, but that he can't control. Like that, like, you know, he's not gonna like be as big as Ramy. They just don't have the same structure. But
Exactly. Like
yeah, he packed on the most amount of muscle that he possibly could. So if you, all things being equal, like, you know, he's got as much muscle as Ramy, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe not in the legs or something like that. But overall, I mean, I think they're proportionately equal. He's just a smaller human being, you know?
exactly. A
So,
lot of people say, kind of judge him on that. And I can relate. I'm a very small human.
right.
I'm very, very small. What do you want me to do? Get
Yeah.
surgery on my
Yeah,
kneecaps?
they
I
need you to
can't do
get bigger.
anything about
Yeah.
my size, but I can do something about the muscle that I put on. So I think that he's done such a phenomenal job. It's like he can't really can he grow more? Yeah. I'm sure he could grow a little bit more, but is it gonna kind of affect the way his physique looks? I think so. So I think
Yeah.
he should
Yeah.
somebody mentioned that they think he should continue to do open shows but still do the 212. I agree. I think
I
he
think
should
that's smart. Yeah.
still do 212 because he's only like 170
Right. So he's not gonna win Olympia
open.
in the open. It's just not gonna
No.
happen.
Yeah.
And so like I think he, because there's not that many 212 shows, just keep competing in the open shows. You're gonna win a lot of the shows where these guys are not at, you know, and so you're gonna, you know, make money there. And then just come in and win the Olympia, you
And he's
know.
never not in shape. Like
Right.
he's always in shape.
Yeah, he's in fantastic shape. He looks great. I thought he looked phenomenal. I thought he was probably the most complete bodybuilder up there. Again,
Yeah.
I just don't think they gave it to him because he's smaller.
Yeah.
If he was the size of the guys here, I think no one can even touch him, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. But it's smart for him to not play the size game because he's not going to win that game. And the only thing he's going to do is just blow out his physique and
Yeah, like
you know,
even I
so
did notice a little bit in his stomach
yeah.
this show.
You can see it a
Uh
little bit here, but I mean, he's
yeah.
kind of extent, like, you know, not quite, but he's also getting, you know, a little older too. So
Yeah.
there's also
But
that. Yeah.
good for him. Like he's great. I think he's great.
Like, I think this is a fantastic shot for him too. Look at the shoulder.
Oh,
Look,
the
I mean, the
hamstring.
pecs, the hams, like fantastic. Not that far off, like, you
Yeah,
know,
not that far off.
from these other guys, except of course we already talked about Ram, and that's unreal. But yeah, so he's got a good look. I mean, I was impressed. I was really impressed. Yeah, Kamal, like you were saying, just could have brought a better package. Didn't look bad, but in this lineup, you're not. I mean, you're not gonna do well with just not bad. You're gonna have to come in like all cylinders firing. You know.
Yeah. I think going back, because looking at this shot, going back to what you were saying about if Samson will be first, then wouldn't the closest be to go Andrew, then Nick?
Mm-hmm.
Um, if anything, I think based on how Rami came in, probably would have been better to go Sam, Nick, Rami, then Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer Andrew's look
Mm-hmm.
now over what Rami brought.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand what you're saying, because yes, like Samson and Andrew are quite similar, just like the stature, just the
Right.
overall look, and like small waist, taper, everything like that. But I think if you're looking at like small little details,
Hmm.
Nick and Samson are more neck and neck, but it's like Rami being in the conversation there, like his back
Yeah.
double was quite good. Like, is that
There's
yeah.
yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously the condition, like he's lacking that,
Hmm.
but like,
Yeah, I think it's also kind of like how he poses a little bit, like
oh, for
especially on
sure.
on the
Posing is everything.
legs.
Sean's
But
back double is so good too.
yeah, yeah, Sean's good. Nick's is fantastic. I mean, like they all have great back doubles, but yeah, Rami has a great back double too. Like not, I mean, a lot of you know, like bubbly muscle and definition. Yeah, I mean, not
And I
not as
think we're
not
looking
as
at they're
conditioned.
looking at overall.
Yeah,
And I think Andrew, man, like he's got bright future ahead of him. Same with Samson, of course.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we knew what Nick could bring, and Nick
Right.
brought it. And then, Samson really kind of blew it out the water, and
Yeah,
like we're now getting to see where he can go and where he
yeah.
will go. Same with Andrew. We saw that last year, and to see him a little bit improved this time around was really exciting. So I'm excited for all of them to jump into like a little bit of an off season.
Yeah, to
And
grow, get better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because a lot of think about it, they've been prepping for a long time.
Right. So Andrew, just between the Olympia and the Arnold, got together with Chris Aceto and Psycho Lewis, who helped him work on his conditioning. They just wanted to bring a better conditioning, and
Yeah,
I think they did that. I think they sacrificed a little bit of just size and just overall kind of like volume. But it's like it's one of those things, right? Like if you're gonna make quick changes like that, you're gonna have to suffer somewhere in your physique, and it's you have to play the game of like what's more important and what's gonna lead you to a better placing, and I think third is fantastic. I mean, I think
oh
he did
yeah.
it. I think that's a great placing for him at this kind of Arnold. It's
I
a
think
stacked Arnold.
if he was honestly, for prejudging, I had them all very close.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
three of them, I had them like I was kind of going shot for shot,
Hmm.
but Andrew was really like my eyes kept going to him in a lot of the
Hmm.
shots, and um he, if anything, I had him second
Yeah.
on the Friday. And then Saturday rolled around and just Samson was just so good.
Yeah, man. The more I'm looking, it's so funny because you look at a picture and then you're like, oh, this guy's great, and then you like keep looking at it and you're like, oh man, this guy's so good. It's like
Yeah.
I'm looking at Nick right now, and it's like I can't stop looking at his back. It's just so the way he hits it is just it is just it's really really nice, like brings out all the details so like peeled. And I think the problem with Rami, and I know we're probably catching the shot mid shot, um
I was gonna
so
say, I
but
wonder if this is them set in it. You know what? There's let me see if I can find it. I think there's like a 4K video.
okay, but it looks just from this shot, well maybe here he
Well,
brings it up,
they're all hitting it a little bit different too. If
right?
you
So I'm
really
thinking,
look,
right. I'm looking at like at Rami, and he almost like he doesn't flare it out as much as Nick. Nick really like spreads it, spreads the
and if
back
you look at
double
Nick,
well.
he like really kind of sets the like he kind of sets the back backwards.
Hmm.
Rami's a little bit more forward.
Right, right. That's what I was trying to get
And
at. Yeah.
yeah. And then Andrew is very up and back.
Right. Leaning. And I think
I
I
think
think initially
he
when
pulled
I
forward a little bit, it would help him actually.
yeah, I think initially I clicked on this like picture because it was in movement. Let me see. Maybe I can just click on it and have it play it. Are they gonna play it or is this just pictures?
I think it's
Oh, it's just
pictures.
pictures. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
pretty sure
yeah.
there's a 4K video of it somewhere though.
Uh, if you
Uh,
find it, shoot it to my Instagram.
yeah. Uh Yep, here it is. Wait, is this it? Because like a lot of people see the comparison shots too, and they're like, "Oh, this guy won," and it's like,
Right.
no, you have to see a physique as it moves. It's
Yes.
very different to see a picture versus a video, and also seeing
Being
a physique
live.
in person. It's so different. Okay.
100%. 100%.
I did find a video, but it's not of the comparisons.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, it's it's tough. You have a really good lineup like this. It's tough. That's why, this was basically the Olympia lineup minus the top two guys, which speaking of the top two guys, I saw Derek talk to him a little bit at the
Love Derek.
at the Arnold. And I mean, great guy, down to earth. He posted some pics recently, and
Oh my
it's like
God.
he looked fantastic, in shape, great, and this is his off season essentially. So,
Crazy.
and he was so close to Hadi that unless Hadi like comes in much better, I think Derek has more room for improvement, while Hadi I think is kind of peaked. And
Mhm.
and honestly, I think Hadi should have probably won a couple Olympias already. Um,
Love Hottie.
yeah, and so like he came in a little bit less conditioned and more size, and that got him the win. But I think now he's more like manipulating size and condition, while as Derek has an opportunity to really grow. And I think at some point, Derek, if not this upcoming year, possibly, he could just take the Olympia and just run with it. They seem to like him a lot. He has a great look to him.
Yeah,
So.
that's why I was saying I'm especially excited for this year because it's like you have Hottie coming back, who
Mm-hmm.
is, like you said, probably should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Not the one he just the year before.
Right.
Um, I've always been a huge fan of Hottie.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Hottie's
remember on the
great.
last podcast, I was like telling my story about the first time I
Yeah.
saw him in person, and I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
blown away. So yeah, I'm excited to see Hottie, especially bring the condition that we saw him bring in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It was a significant size difference, but now that he has the size and he has the time, I think he could really bring what's expected of him. And
Sure.
I think with Derek, uh, he obviously was so amazing at the last O that
Yeah.
you can't ignore how beautiful his shape is.
Mm-hmm.
But we have seen him come in off before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
We've
okay,
never
can
we've never seen Hottie come so I'm like my dog is over here like scratching and
oh
stuff, and her like her you know what
her
do you call it,
collar.
collar like keeps ringing.
That's okay.
Yeah, so like Hottie was never been off, and that's what, like, to your point, I didn't think about that, but that's the one like caveat, right, like to the whole
Yeah.
situation. So
So it's like that we have him, uh or at least I think most people are expecting that from him. And then now that we have Derek with, he's in great shape right now. He's fucking massive.
mhm.
And it's like, can he bring that with the condition again? His condition was great at the O, but it was like, can
Yeah,
he be just that,
yeah,
have that little bit of an edge? And then now we have Nick, we have Samson, we have,
right.
Andrew. I think Andrew will still need a little bit, a couple more years,
He'll need
but
a little bit of work. Some people were saying like he was, and I hate this term because none of these guys fit this term, but like skinny or like thin.
yeah,
He's just, I think what it is his legs aren't quite there yet. And so, like, because his upper body, I feel like, is there and his legs aren't there, it makes him kind of look elongated a little bit, but it's not significant. It's just in comparison, he
just a
won't.
little,
Right, he won't beat these guys in comparison until he brings that up, but it's not
yeah.
significant. He can do it for
I think
sure.
there's enough time. I think
Yeah.
there's
Oh
enough
yeah.
time for him to bring up the legs for sure. Do I think it'll be like I think it'll push him up a couple placings for sure.
Yeah.
But also, um, naming Hottie, Derek, Samson, and Nick, we have Brandon. Brandon
Yeah.
said he's going to be back at the Arnold next year. So does that mean that he's not going to do the Olympia this year? Like, we don't.
Yeah, I think people kind of forgot about Brandon because I think everyone is now like really focused on a lot of these quote unquote new guys, like these hard hitters, like Nick and Samson and Andrew
Yeah.
and Derek. I think people kind of forgot about Brandon. I mean, Brandon can come in ridiculous, like he's done
Yeah.
it before. So
Yeah. I think it's just getting more and more competitive
right,
every year. It's becoming more present, and it's so exciting, and I'm so grateful to be like in it at the
yeah.
time that this is happening and the time that this is starting to like bloom, and we're going to see some pretty amazing things that are going to go down in history. Like,
Right. It's
so
it's been a while since I've been as excited about men's open as I have like these like last this last Olympia and this Arnold. Like, you know, I I've watched it. Oh, it's good. Oh, this guy won. But now it's like it's just so competitive. And it seems like they're really rewarding people that deserve it. How can I put this? They're really they're really judging what's up there now, and I don't
oh,
know,
of course.
I don't know how else to put it. In past years, I felt like there was a lot of controversy. Like people are like, "Oh, this person should have won. Oh, why did they pick this guy?" Now it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of that, but I think people are well aware that the judges are now like really judging what's up there. Because I mean, look, they could have kept Ramy winning if they wanted to, but they didn't. They made a Samson the Arnold, winner here instead of Nick. They could have kept Nick, there. He was good enough where if he won, nobody would have complained. So it looks like they're just really like trying to think it through.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah.
No, I'm if you watched the show, like I think it was it was my boyfriend who said this. He's like, holy fuck, like they're fucking putting them through so many
Oh
rounds.
yeah.
I'm like, well,
It was
yeah,
wild.
like you have to. And also like from a viewership standpoint, it's like you're
Mhm.
paying so much money to go watch these shows, and you've
All right.
waited for the hype. So it's like you want to see these guys be compared for a while.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, my heart does go out to them sometimes because I'm like, I'm tired just watching the
Right.
first comparison round. So they really made sure that they went through it all and looked at everything, and I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that about this year. Like
Yeah.
the Arnold to me was way more exciting than the O. And then also I don't know if you watched the O
Mhm.
live stream. Did you watch that when they cut off Hottie
Uh,
winning?
no, I did not. I did not. Did I watch? No, I did not. I don't think I did.
They near the end they were cutting in and out of like interviews
Oh
for
man.
like previous winners, and it completely, like, when they bring them two in the middle, it was like Derek and Hottie,
Right,
and then
right.
they're like about Bob's about to say it,
Oh no.
and then it
That's
just cuts
terrible.
to an interview, and I'm like, what? I just spent like so much money on this
And
stream.
and that was Hottie talking is what they cut out?
No, they cut to so they were doing interviews of like the men's physique, bikini, figure, all that. And I think they
What I'm saying is which part did they cut out? Is that the Hotties
announcing
speaking
it.
and oh, announcing the winner.
Yeah.
Oh
And
man, that's the
even
worst.
even part
That's
of the top 5, they cut off the awards.
that's terrible.
They were doing I
That's
was
terrible.
laughing because it was like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. So
Like
so I will say with
so I
the
was happy with how the Arnold went.
yeah, the Arnold went good. I will say that, and maybe I'm just being too picky, but like sometimes they were a little slow with putting everything up on the screen. So like the guys will start posing and stuff, and like 5 minutes later, like the screen will come up, like up top, like over him. So thankfully, I was
Yeah.
close enough where I could see them on stage. But then like if you're further out, you kind of depend on the screen.
On the
So
screen, yeah.
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
when they like zoom in on like the ankles,
Yeah.
And then they like go up, and I'm like, I want to see the full side chest. What are you
Right,
doing? Like,
right,
I hate
right.
when they do that, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like,
I,
okay,
I,
zoom in on that when they're like on the side waiting for like an award or something.
right. I don't understand who. I don't know if this is like something that's just a IT issue or like a cameraman like mistake issue, or is this like somebody said, "Oh, we should do this. Like this is the way we should shoot this shot." And I can't believe somebody would actually like intentionally do that. That's I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think that they just, yeah, they hire people who are just kind of like in the game, like from like television or
But they're
production,
not
but they're
bodybuilders.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like same sometimes like with the music too.
Yeah.
Like not at big shows like the Arnold and
Mm,
whatever, but I've seen it at like national shows
yeah.
and even just shows, yeah, national shows, international shows. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is,
It's not right. Yeah.
not right.
Doesn't
Yeah.
fit. Doesn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm surprised that you didn't get to experience that cut off of the, like, my heart was racing because I was like, I'm such a big Hottie fan. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I think he's gonna win. I think
You
he's
know
gonna
what?
win.
You know what I think happened? I think I bought it, but didn't have an opportunity to watch
So
it
then
at the
watch it live.
moment until a lot
Mm.
later. So I went back and watched it later. I don't think I had that experience. I
And
don't know
they
if they
fixed
cut it.
it.
They probably fixed it.
They
Yeah. So
fixed
that's
it,
what it
yeah.
was. So,
Because I have the app and I
I
remember I
did too.
couldn't
Yeah.
watch it. I couldn't watch it for like a day or two after that I bought it because I think they were
hmm
editing some
Editing some
stuff.
of it out. Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Some of these shots, though, I mean, like Nick looks great. Like here, Nick
Oh,
looks
I sent you
great.
a video, by the way.
Oh, did you?
I
Okay,
sent you a video of, it's like a 3-minute video, I think, of
I got
the
it.
comparison round as on the at the finals.
hmm
So if you skip to 49 seconds, they're in the center together.
Okay,
Yeah, there we go.
there you go. There you go. See, side shot with Ramy, he looks great.
Yeah.
Here,
Front.
this does not look good. I mean, they're big, they're massive, but this does not look good.
Remember I was saying there was something about him?
Yeah,
I looked, yeah, his quads look a little weird.
this does not look good.
Look like,
And see, and Nick's look super peeled, but not as I don't know. I don't know if it's shape that he's missing, like compared to. See here, Samson really shows like how good he is
oh yeah.
in the leg department. Perfect.
From head to toe, he's just
Right, right.
X frame.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think certain shots.
right. Now here, I think Ramy like kind of. I personally, I think Ramy wins this shot. I mean, on the legs. I mean the Samson's got a good chest there.
Yeah, you can't ignore Rami's
Right,
side leg
right,
there for sure.
right.
Andrew's condition in his lower half was so much better.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's what he was working on. That's what he was trying to
I think
improve.
Nick's mid back is like a lot of people like Nick's back double, but I personally like Andrews and Samson's better.
Yeah. Yeah,
Andrew's
I'm a fan
mid
of
back
Nick's.
is crazy.
Yeah.
But I think he lacks a little bit of the side. You can really see it in the forearms there, the arms.
I mean, and Ramy's wide, but I just he just doesn't have the the details and
Yeah.
that they,
He needs a little
that
bit
they
more
bring.
finesse to the physique.
Sure. And I don't to be honest, at this point in his career, I don't even know if he can do it,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's gonna try, but
I think if he can pull off this next Olympia, I think maybe that should be his last.
Yeah.
Only because I love the guy. I think he's
super nice, they say. I
the
never met
Olympia.
him.
Oh, I met him. He's great.
Yeah.
Just I mean, what more does he have to prove?
Right. I mean, at this point, you went to, you're placing highest right now. You're getting some cash. I think he's doing well financially. So, I think at this point, he needs to either. I mean, I think he needs to decide what he wants to do. If he wants to continue and just, place top 5. He probably will, top 5, top 6, get a few dollars here, a few dollars there, or he can kind of wrap it up and just, live his life.
Yeah.
I think he's married. I
It's
think he's got
hard.
some
It's
kids.
hard for them to let go of this, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's tough because unlike other sports, you're talking about you're going to be using performance enhancing drugs at this level, and it's like to continue here is really like you really have to weigh out that, like, was it worth it, So it's
Yeah.
it's tough. So
That's a
hopefully
great shot.
hopefully he's got people. This is, I think, a good shot for everyone. I
Yeah.
think Andrew looks really good in here too. Like,
Yeah.
he's really
I think,
shows out in this shot.
yeah, I agree. I think if Andrew's abs were on Samson here, Samson would be perfect.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And a little bit,
yeah.
I think Samson's like mid bicep flex because his bicep doesn't look as peaked
Hmm.
unless, yeah, I don't think he's fully in it. But uh
Yeah.
I love his quad. Like I like the way he sets his lower half here with the calves too.
Hmm.
I think Nick's front double here is a little bit more traditional,
Right.
very straight on. I think if he were to even add a little bit of a flare or like a twist, like it actually might look good on him. Because
Yeah.
he's not genetically like doesn't have a small waist.
Yeah.
So
He has like he has short legs and like long torso, opposite of what you have.
yeah.
Basically. Like
Yeah.
so like it kind of like make it kind of, if you're looking at him, if you cover your, like, take your hand and cover his lower half, he looks fantastic. And then you like watch his legs and it kind of throws off his look a little bit.
I think
Um
him standing
yeah.
more narrow kind of it's tough because it's like he's standing narrow because you want to close that gap
Right,
on
right.
the inside of the leg, but I feel like because his hips are kind of narrow, it
Uh-huh.
narrows out his lower half a little bit
Yeah,
too
yeah,
much.
it's like a double-edged sword.
Whereas
But
like Andrew is stepping more out, Samson stepping more out, they're able to kind of like really push
right.
into that hip and like really create that X frame.
Yeah, and Andrew is just kind of like he's given like just a really like relaxed, like, I'm relaxed, I'm here, like it's like I've got a pretty physique look, like it's kind of, he's giving me like that, almost like a Model S
That
type of
pretty boy
feel.
swag.
Yeah, yeah, feel to it, and I think that
Yeah.
really like makes a difference here for sure. Yeah, I'm with Nick. He's never going to have the shape that these guys have. So I think he needs to just play to his strengths and just keep like being massive. Don't go too massive, like to where you're blowing out your waist even more, but just, keep your size. You're the mutant, work towards your strengths. I mean, you came in third, right? At the Olympia.
Yeah.
So, make improvements and come back and, do something similar.
I really think you can't knock Nick for what he brings to stage. It's just sometimes, or in this case, the aesthetic
Right.
part of it is more prominent than that
Yeah.
hard, big, like massive look.
Right.
And I
Right.
agree. I think that he should continue to bring that because the dynamic at the Olympia is going to be very different as well because we have not only now these two tall guys, we
Hmm.
have two even shorter guys that are
Right.
top two. So it's I'm really, really, really intrigued and I'm so excited for the Olympia because I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, even looking at Andrew here, like just the way he hits this front double, you can tell he lifts the elbows a lot higher too, which
Right.
elongates the waist,
Right.
which makes the waist look even smaller. So if he were to bring up his legs in this pose,
Oh, it'd be he'd be fantastic.
oh my God,
Yeah. And
crazy.
you, like you said, two things, Olympia, they generally reward like more mass guys there that just traditionally. And
Yeah,
then also you're not just being compared to two tall guys there, right? Like you said, you're comparing to Hadi, who's now defending an Olympia title, is short.
Yep.
Derek, who's short, so when
Brandon.
you right, Brandon. So when you're being compared like all together like that, Nick has a much better chance to place higher. When he's being compared with three, really comes down to three guys. Two of them have, I don't want to say identical, but similar physiques, and you're the oddball out. It's like it looks kind of, it's a different kind of way they judge, that comparison. So
As a competitor, you don't realize your flaws or your weaknesses until you stand next to somebody who's completely different than you.
yeah,
At least for me, like every show, majority of the girls that I was against were kind of close to my like stature or my build until I competed at the Amateur O, who I went against two other girls who looked more wellness. And then that made me look like the oddball out because I didn't have my hips sat a lot higher.
Right.
It didn't look like I had as much size. So same situation kind of here.
Yeah.
Like
it's a game of comparisons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's who shows up and how they show up on that day. So that's why I'm like really excited to see these three with Hadi and Derek in the mix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I do think, I don't know, Derek is unbelievable. He's young. He's got all the life to give.
As long as Derek keeps improving, if he improves this offseason, he's the lowest he's gonna get, I think, is second. Unless someone,
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think if someone else, it's possible they can make massive improvements, but you're also counting on the fact that Derek won't make even more improvements, which I'm almost positive that he will. He's got that room,
If we look at his trajectory,
right,
it's just been up.
Right.
Like since he started.
Sure. So I think he's got plenty of time to make those improvements too.
Oh yeah. Lots of time. Are you going to be at the Olympia or are you going to go?
We'll see. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. It's always like these big shows, these big, like big, when you're talking about going to these shows, you're talking about time off. You're talking about like, I have a wife to think about. So it's like I have to like coordinate all these things, So, I'm definitely going to try for sure. You?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Okay.
I'm going to make it happen because it's in Orlando again. And I have family there, so I can just go stay at their house.
Oh, I forgot it was in Orlando. So what's funny is that actually might be more likely that I will go because my wife is from Florida, so we have family in Florida.
Oh, yes, you did tell me that.
Yeah, so I think that actually could happen. That's much more likely to happen that way than in Las Vegas for sure.
And it's Vegas is just a shit show. I think. Like I was like, oh, everybody's asking me, are you gonna go? I was like, I don't know if I want.
I don't even want to. Like
it's too hectic.
Like, yeah.
And it's like I don't got money to spend like $70 on breakfast.
Right. It's I don't even feel whenever it's in Vegas, I don't even like feel like doing it. It's like it seems like a daunting task to try to get to Vegas and do all that.
Like if I go, I'm probably gonna get like 2 hours of sleep. Like that's how I feel if I were to go. So Orlando is I'm very comfortable with there. I go there often. My family's there. And like I'm familiar with the gyms in the area. And then also I competed at the same venue that it's gonna be at.
Okay,
so
nice.
I told myself no matter what, even if I have to go by myself, I'm
going
to go because I'm like this. I'm so excited. Like, who would not want to see this in person?
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Hostile is going to be there, so it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Man, we've been on for a while, but
I know.
But we got through it. We did.
We did. We should do more because clearly we have so much to cover.
Yeah, I would love to do like different topics and shows and stuff. I know we're both busy, so we'll have to figure that out. But I think it's doable for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, Mom, thanks so much again for your time.
Of course. Thank you so much.
I greatly appreciate it.
Of course.